really gives a lot of advantage to your team, especially both Cho as well as Matilda, where the Cho has an advantage of actually going for the thrill. Matilda just having a lot of damage when you consider every single hero in the game, their HP pool has been nerfed. And in my opinion, has been nerfed quite a lot.
Yeah, that and the craziest thing is that when you look at Nightmare Esports, Roma, Jasmine, both Cho and Matilda are his signature, right? Even Cho, you get that extra armor pen with your passive, your Jit Kundo at level 1 plus concussive blast also deals incredible damage. I am looking for that Roma matchup, right? Between PCU and Jasmine. I'm leaning towards Jasmine just because we've seen what he can do. It's going to be a challenge for PCU to see if he can kind of step up to it.
After this, when we're looking at the players, there's a lot that we want to talk about, but I want to take this opportunity to talk about KLVJ, where honestly, him as a player, he's not new to the scene. He's won MPL Philippines, I believe, 2 times. He's been all around the world, and he's been known as a carry player. EXP's right now is more about moving around the map fast, because if you're looking at the lineups for top EXP laners, you're really looking at those with a lot of attack speed that can really, not attack speed, sorry, movement speed or movement abilities to make sure that you're always around for the fight. Something like a Hilda, maybe even a Gato Kacha, where you can ult from your lane all the way to the neutral objective. And even once in a while, we will see Khalid. What type of play will KLVJ play? Will he be more of a carry? Will he be a frontline? Will he be a setup? Will he be flanking? In my head, there's a lot of questions that I hope by game number 1 can be answered.
Yeah, I think personally for me, as an XP laner right now, I feel like Khalid is the best balance, right? You get the best of both worlds. Good laning, can soak up damage, great mobility, and decent damage scaling. But if you want someone that oppresses the jungle, I think Hilda is a good choice now that Assassins is so prevalent in the meta, except for Alpha. So overall, I think for both teams, it comes down to the coaching staffs. And for Dianfeng Yao Guai, we got our OGs from Malaysia. We got Sasa and Long as they have been a pivotal figure behind the scenes for this Chinese team.
Long as we don't talk about him a lot, but he is one of the smartest guys that I've ever met. And now let's hear some quotes from them. It feels great to be back in Malaysia again, a place I'm familiar with. Of course, I hope we can go far to relive my memories at Axiata Arena, but for now, my goal is to get past the wildcard stage with Dianfeng Yao Guai, and that is from Long, I believe, and from Sasa. It feels different coming back. This time as a coach rather than a player. Being a coach has its own challenges, though thought it would be more stressful for the players who are actually on the battlefield.
I kind of can agree with that, right? I think Sasa also said it in an interview recently posted on one of our official channels that he feels that the stress is more on the players because he can just be the brains. He can just tell them what to do, but to actually do it in-game, that's on his boys. That's on the 5 main startup players. And he's also, I think, the very first player that's won trophies in multiple regions, MPL, MY, and ID, the Kage as well. This change of scenery for him from player to coach, I'm very looking forward to see what the team can bring.
I mean, let me just say, if Sasa wants a less stressful job, being a player is stressful.
Yeah.
Being a coach is stressful. Hey, what about being a caster?
Maybe we can have him one day. Who knows, right? Who knows? Maybe when he closes this chapter as a coach, maybe he has achieved what he wants. Perhaps that could be the next step.
But yeah, definitely, like, Long was one of the players that was actually there in M1. Back then, he was with Axis Esports as a player as well. Didn't make it quite far, but again, in terms of knowledge, talking to Long, he understands the game in a very different way. And I really feel like he can be a difference maker for Dianfeng Yao Guai, where Sasa is more about those fundamentals, understanding how the rotation works, what's your job description, and the likes.
I think the most interesting part about this back-end crew of Long S and Sasa was that Long used to coach Sasa, and now the coaches coach is now working together as a team to bring Dianfeng Yao Guai to potentially be the second Chinese team to make it to that main stage to join KBG.
Yeah. We have to talk about Nightmare as well, where Opera is actually loaned from 9 Esports. And we also have to see, because when we last saw them, I would say aggression is coming on all angles. I'm not so sure if that's the right way to play the game now, because I do agree, burst is king, damage is king. But if everyone does damage, who's going to be opening up the map? Who's going to have that macro control?
I would say this one really comes down to Jasmine. He's really been the one setting the pace for Nightmare Esports. But one interesting about Oppa is he's like John Wick, right? He's a man of sheer will and determination. He wants to get a job done, he will get the job done. That's why when you put in on heroes like Khalid and Gatot Kaca, you want him to dive a backline, he will dive no matter what happens.
I like that kind of mindset. People tell me you can't do it, I'm like, watch me.
You can't do it, I can.
He's the kind of guy that's like, you think Layla can't flank?
No, watch
me. Watch me. I'll flank with Layla, and I'll make it look cool.
My recent games have taught me that even Mia can flank.
I think that game it didn't go well, but I like the mindset.
Yeah, I mean we lost that game, but I can respect the hustle. I can respect the creativity to find the angle and understanding that that is a moment of opportunity, just not the right hero.
I'm not so sure if the camera can pick it up, but we here can already hear the screams of the player, and I believe it's from Nightmare Esports. Right now, they're looking very pumped, Husky, for this matchup.
Yeah, I think they definitely feel less stressed since this is not their first rodeo. They've been on this stage before. They're a servant for the team, right? So for them, they've been on this stage multiple times. It's just a matter of can we make it through this time? But what about the atmosphere for Dianfeng Yaoguai? I think that one, it comes down to whether Longesk and Sasa, Kenmei Esports is an experienced team, but it doesn't mean that they are unbeatable.
I would say, looking from a glance, the air that they have right now is more serious. It's more controlled, calculated. It's like, guys, don't get ahead of yourself. Think about the game that's in front of you. Speaking of which, let's introduce the members of Dianfeng Yaoguai, Lung, PCU, E1, Zed, as well as KLVJ.
Yeah, KLVJ, Xiao K, very, very interesting figure. One of the most experienced player, I think, out of the entire lineup. And no fun fact, right? PCU, the Roma, the Chinese character of the name is based off of a mythical creature.
Oh.
So we'll see if he can bring that magic to the team, especially in his opening game, which I think is very important to set the pace. And him having to go up against Jasmine as the opposing Roma, that's going to be a lot of pressure.
Let me just say, Husky, out of respect, you can call the moniker of KLVJ. To make sure I don't mispronounce it, I won't.
What?
I won't.
Oh, you won't?
Yeah.
KLVJ. I mean, we got Nightmare
No, not KLVJ. His moniker.
His moniker, Xiao K.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be more careful there. But Nightmare Sport, we got Cammy, Jasmine, Soso. Too easy for Lexi as well as Opper. And again, looking at the veterans, Soso as well as Jasmine, I really feel like the movements coming in from the mid really dictates whether you can actually get the turtle. And then whoever gets that turtle, personally for me, it's a big power spike.
I mean, the mid trio, right? Even sometimes just the mid duo, your mid and Roma really makes so much difference.
So much.
You hit level 2 first, you win a Little Wanderer fight, you get to the turtle first, level 4 first. Anything that you can get the slight advantage feels so magnified just because it is so much easier to pick up those KDs in the early game.
Especially because this meta, when the damage is so huge because the HP is so small, everything feels so punishing. And I really feel like that's the key of why mid duos are so important right now. They set up for the jungler, and the jungler can give you an advantage. But if the mid duo can't do it, and if the jungler forces it, that's where the mistake comes in.
Yeah, I think being able to play fast and decisive, Snowball feels so punishing, right?
Yeah.
I think this kind of serves to shorten the average game time. Obviously, if the game goes late, you kind of regain that lost base HP based on the growth. But to get to that stage where you are on even footing feels so much harder if you're behind.
Yeah, one of Lung's favorite heroes is the Bruno, and like you said, Bruno is strong now with the introduction of the Malefic gun. We gotta talk about Granger as well. Granger right now, people are able to pick it up. It's out of his ban list. The only question is, do people actually want to pick it up? Because in terms of the damage, it does feel good. The only bad thing about a Granger is that it's skill shots. You can block it with your... Well, the tank can block it with their bodies to make sure that the squishies behind don't take damage.
It's sort of like Beatrix, but obviously with his own perks, right? He has AoE splash damage, his resources are easily replenishable, and I think just based off of observation, laning phase for Granger in the gold lane is incredibly oppressive, especially when he gets a hit. I think late game also not too bad. You want to get a quick burst in, Granger is always there, can check bushes with the ultimate, the Death Sonata. I feel like there's merit, but I haven't seen it in pro play yet.
Yeah, no, same. Because really, I feel like even in ranked games, we can see some of the shortcomings of Granger. Amazing hero, but definitely not perfect. He's one of those heroes where if you're amazing at it, pick it up.
I feel like you saw yesterday, right, on my stream where we had a game against the enemy Granger, which took way longer than it should because of the amount of burst damage that he brings. I think that's kind of where the advantage lies, but when you compare it to Bruno, I still feel like Bruno is so much easier to execute, right?
No,
like,
really, I feel like it's like Granger is strong early game, but at the late game, it's more utility than everything else because you can spam your Death Sonata, like you said, to check the bushes, to even in Lord fights, just poke them out, and then once you're comfortable, then you guys can dive in.
Yeah, then you guys can dive in. I don't think he's a recipient of the Malefic gun. I don't know. I just feel
I
like
don't think so.
if it's always there, sometimes you see Moskov carry, Beatrix as well. Any hero that can go early to mid is great.
Some people are still liking the Harif. Harif still looks strong.
Harif? There is one exception though. I know we make fun of Mia from time to time, but the Mekong region, some teams do pick up Mia.
Hey, Mia's legit. Mia got nerfed. She's so legit, she got a nerf.
Windtalker got buffed though.
Windtalker got buffed.
That's kind of what makes her legit.
And now this will be the first draft here in the wild card. Tianfen Yaguai going up against Nightmare Esports. Looks like Nightmare will be first pick, and they instantly ban out the Hayabusa at the hill. And look at this, we even have the player portraits here.
One ban that I think Tianfen Yaoguai needs to consider is the Fanny, right? Fanny got buffed, energy usage has gone down, so Fanny becomes overall easier to execute, a lot more margins for errors with your steel cable, and we know that Too Easy for Lexi loves that Fanny pick.
The only reason why you let go of a Fanny, if you have clear confirmation this guy cannot use a Fanny to save his life. That's the only way. Even a mediocre Fanny is so strong.
A Fanny that can use her cables effectively is a good enough Fanny,
Good enough.
I think. It's a good enough Fanny. That's kind of like the benchmark. Loi ban now, so you take away utility from the side of Tianfen Yaoguai. This ban is very important, right? So they ban a Fanny, so Khalid, Gatot, they all go through.
Let's see here. Suyo as well,
Suyo.
Alpha.
Nolan.
This really sets up what Nightmare really wants, because in terms of the junglers, I kind of feel like you're spoiled for choice. A lot of options here. Goalie, a lot of choices here. We've seen previously before Hylos as well as Phoveus being a priority. But Cho as well. Cho could be a contestant here as well.
It has been a big first phase pick for red side, not so much for blue side because you're much more radical for Khalid. Heroes like Khalid and Gatot, Khalid kind of goes through. But interestingly enough, you can still flex the Khalid into the roam if there's the need for it.
Exactly. As you guys can see here on graphic, one of the advancements of technology. Now we can see if the hero got nerfed or buffed. The nerf for Khalid is that lower attack growth as well as lower damage reduction when he's using his quick sun guard. But trust me, Khalid still does his job well, is still very strong, definitely still in the meta.
It would feel the nerf would feel a lot more better if they didn't nerf base HP.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and then it would feel a lot more impactful. Like when they nerf the HP, then the nerf is damage. It kind of balances it out. We see the Phoveus as a response. Obviously, the downside is that you don't move as fast as Khalid, but you have a very stable laning phase alongside the Eve.
Looks like Coach Sasa here wants some control in his lineup, having the Phoveus, having this Eve, and now we're looking instantly the difference here. Control from Tianfen Yaoguai. Nightmare wants to dive. They want to go in. They want to fight. They got a Khalid. They got a Matilda. They got an Alpha. Hello? Fight?
It's all about playing fast, right? You want to control an area. Well, what if we extend that play area? What if we get to maneuver around and you can't really keep us with that real-world manipulation? It's a headache for Phoveus as well, because you think Infernal Pursuit helps you catch up to people, not if they are just gliding around the map.
Long has to be careful of what hero he picks up. Right now, Tianfen Yaoguai, they want to match the speed. They pick up the Nolan. So this is also another thing that we have to put into consideration. CEO Amazing Hero got nerfed. And I feel like the nerf is very important, from 1,000 to 500 cap for that execution damage from his second skill. I really feel like it's a big deal. I want to talk about this Matilda, where any lineup with Matilda, both gold lane and EXP, you don't have a good time because the rotation from mid is much faster than what you guys can have, unless you guys have a Farsa, which we can see here is not the case. So Dianfen Yaguai, they already have to pre-plan. Whatever hero they're gonna give to Long is gonna be able to essentially survive by himself.
At the same time, I mean, they're banning out mid laners as expected. Vexana banned out, the Cho banned out by the side of Dianfen Yaoguai. But another hero that Nightmare can consider could be Valentina, just because there is the real world manipulation on the side of Dianfen Yaoguai, which you can steal. And Control Mage, imagine getting the RWM on the side of Nightmare Esports against this DFYG comp. It feels quite nice to be able to stall out the tempo of both the Phobius and the Nolan. The Kadita ban though, this one I did not expect it at all.
No, I tried out Kadita. It takes some time to get used to the new speed of executing her skills, but the damage is legit husky. It's really strong, and it's one of those heroes that even if you don't kill the Eve because the Eve builds tanky or whatever, it's enough. It's enough to make sure that they don't stay in the fight for a very, very long time. So I respect the Eve ban here. For Nightmare, I agree with what you say about the Valentina, but I also have to say, I almost feel like no matter what they pick up as their mid here, they can't go wrong. They already have a very solid 3 heroes pickup.
Yeah, I think Aurora also is another option, right? Now that it is kind of let through, they even banned out the high loss, so even if Dianfen Yaoguai wants to play fast with this Eve, Nolan, Phobius, they can't do it. So the other option is to give that signature Bruno over to Long.
And again, we gotta see if Long can survive the ganks coming in from Nightmare.
I'll tell you though, if there's a chance he goes second or third item, Malefic Gun, and once he hits that, and they survive the first 8 minutes of the game, that's where it gets troublesome for Nightmare Esports, because Bruno crits are extremely devastating. When your roamer has low health pool like a Matilda, he just blows through your health bar in 3 shots.
You don't have to convince me, man. I agree with you, man. Especially Matilda, first item is going to be Flaccid Oasis. You don't really have a lot of HP. You're only hoping for your shields. And now the last 2 picks coming in from Nightmare. They still need a mid laner. They still need a gold laner. What is going to be the choice here for Nightmare? It looks like they're going to lock in the Beatrix as well as the Valentina. You called it, Husky.
Yeah. I was thinking of the Valentina, but the Beatrix also came into my mind. Since you want to be able to play fast, you want to be able to play early to mid, you want to match range, you have Valentina for the control, but you also have Beatrix, right? Renner, you have the Rockets as well, the Bandit's Rage. All of these are great because Dianfen Yaoguai wants to play in a close quarter combat. They want to play in a controlled environment. In this case, roamer-wise, if you want to continue down this route, Tigreal kind of feels okay now that Cho and Hylos are out of the picture. If not, there's actually not much setup left
not much.
though. Yeah.
There really is not much. Maybe something like a Kufra could possibly do something. But the Tigreal is best because you can handle the alpha, right?
Yeah. The power of light incarnate.
So they pick up the Kaja.
Dado too, yeah.
Honestly, Kaja is the changes. Kaja's first skill can lower enemies' damage, and that's very, very impactful when everyone wants to deal damage. So honestly, this is a very good pickup. We just have to see how's the execution.
Yeah, you know what they say, if you want to take the Matilda Express, you can't do that if you're suppressed, right? No amount of Purify can help you out of that Divine Judgment. So I like this pick-off comp, at least a pick-off utility that Dianfen Yaoguai has got them for themselves. Both teams have very different stories. DFYG wants to be the second Chinese team to qualify for Swiss stage, but for Nightmare Esports, it's been 3 years since they made it to main stage. This could be the beginning of that era once more.
Looking at both teams, all has talking to their coaches. They all understand the game plan. This is the opening match for the wild card M6 here in Malaysia. Nightmare going up against Dianfen Yaoguai. Who will win the first match? Who will have the advantage in their groups?
It's going to be exciting as we will jump onto the land of dawn right at this moment. Nightmare Esports on blue side, Dianfen Yaoguai on red. Right off the bat, we see the jungle path. Complete opposite, right? Too Easy Alexi starting on purple, Zed on orange.
Yeah, but they are starting on the same side of the map here. Oh, it looks like Matilda there is... I think he got the buff.
Wait, did he?
Oh, no, he didn't.
Oh,
Because,
it got me a heart attack.
no, because I saw Zed's level and it's like, wait, was it level 1? No, it's still level 2. So I legit thought he got the buff.
That would be a nightmare, let me tell you. But of course, we gotta remind people that the M6 Pass is now available from 18th of November to 29th of December. So complete active tasks, you got plenty of rewards that you can go for, including the Claude Battle emote, M6 Avatar, Glory Avatar Border, Boxer Battle emote, and a lot more. You max it out, you get the Claude statue.
Oh yeah, and if you guys don't know how that looks like later on during the caster cam, you guys can see the table. But looking at the rotations here, it looks like everyone understands controlling the river is going to be the priority here. PCU as well is basically moving around with Jasmine. He's mirroring Jasmine, making sure that he sees where he's going.
I gotta say, he's doing a pretty good job at it, right? Jasmine forced to take that recall. That damage from Kaja is pretty deadly, and Zed, he's just gonna pass through that mid side to allow E1 to start moving around the map.
Is that an orange buff on PCU?
It is?
That's an orange
he stole
buff,
an
right?
orange buff. Oh my goodness.
Now, okay. Because I know, like, I felt like one buff was stolen. I just didn't know who. I thought it was Jasmine, but okay. Apparently it was PCU.
I have a feeling he probably forced the retreat out at the purple buff. First turtle fight though. No, none of the Romans are level 4 yet, but you can see the damage from Dianfeng Yao Guai coming in. KVJ, the Infinite Pursuit takes first blood as the retribution comes through. Dianfeng Yao Guai finds 2 kills and a turtle.
This is the aggression that we want to see. We want to see Dianfeng Yao Guai move forward from their previous playstyle, and now they're looking very, very aggressive. Long
actually gonna flicker for it. Solo kill almost achieved. Cammy barely gets out as Soso arrives, steals the worldie, goes in Shadow Strike, finds the Terrified, commits the worldie, but Long, he's looking to fight back. The crit, Snipe committed. Cammy trades it back, but E1 finds the trade, and at the end of the day, Dianfeng Yao Guai still comes out on top.
Let me just say, Cammy took a very big risk there.
Yeah.
And he died, but he got a kill. So even I'm not sure whether it's worth it or not, but mentally, that's worth it. Killing with a snipe feels so good.
Yeah. Every basic attack from the Bruno, even in the early game, right? It's like the roll of the dice. Do I get a crit? That last hit after the flicker was not a critical. That would have been a solo kill for Long. So slightly unfortunate, but overall, PCO does have Divine Judgment. It's going to commit it onto Jasmine as that shows up, fractures him into pieces. Dianfeng Yao Guai with the 4th kill. But Nightmare Esports not done just yet. Spear of Alpha completely misses. Zed will be able to dash away.
2Z for Lexi so far, I've seen making a lot of micro mistakes. We saw that basically with the ult, but even the jungle camp out top, he didn't last hit it. The last hit actually went to PCU, and now Zed having the Blade of Heptases. If you thought he had a lot of damage before, now even the tanks is gonna feel it.
Yeah, almost a 2k gold lead for Dianfeng Yao Guai at under 4 minutes. For those who have used your guest coins for the M6 Pass, you might want to hold your breath for a bit because the FYG looking solid in this early game. First item priority, Haas Claw for Long completed just at that 4-minute mark.
Yeah, and right now we can see Cammy desperately trying to get his first item as well, taking the mid lane. Right now Zed and 2Z for Lexi. Looks like Zed is going to be the one to secure the orange buff. 2Z for Lexi on the alpha right now is not feeling all too comfortable.
It's very devastating when you're up against the Nolan and the Nolan starts getting a hit, right? Then because you always reach your jungle camp first, always moves faster, thanks to just the difference in mobility. And with KVJ in the front line, it's gonna be hard. Jasmine finds the back line. KVJ will just try to block them all out. RWM comes through. Zed does go down to 2Z for Lexi, but KVJ will respond with the Infernal Pursuit. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Turtle for Nightmare. Soso looking to get away, and both teams trade 1-for-1.
Soso was able to get the Divine Judgment, and I kind of feel like that really impacted the fight, making sure that not all the damage from Dianfeng Yao Guai actually moves forward. And 2Z for Lexi, he actually got a solid ult over to Zed. That's a big game changer. The fact that they're able to take down the Nolan first, making it so that this Lord fight, this turtle fight is just a fight. You're not really contesting for the turtle anymore. And they still got the turtle.
Yeah. I mean, first 2 turtle fights have really came down to who can take down the enemy jungler first, right? You just get that free retribution. So both teams, they ended up trading even. Dianfeng Yao Guai still in the lead, but there was close to 1,000 gold swing in favor of Nightmare. And I think right now, the FYG, they gotta reconsider certain options, especially when Oppa is starting to move around the map.
Something that Nightmare has shown as well. Their dive Husky is very strong when the Khalid is there, right? His Raging Sandstorm, too easy for Lexi's dive as well. Soso can take the Divine Judgment. And now, Denfeng Yaguai, they gotta take this turret, but now they gotta leave because the engage from Nightmare is just there.
And the target is going to be Long. It will be circling Ego, committing Raging Sandstorm, flicker away. Long will dodge it as Soso joins the fight. RWM from E1, controlling the backline of Nightmare Esports. They just cannot get out. Killing spree for E1. A solo kill happened off screen as Zed takes out Too Easy for Lexi. Denfeng Yaoguai with 2 kills.
Something that was not planned there, Husky. Nightmare Esports, it looked like they were still discussing whether they want to engage or they want to back off. But now, looks like pressure by Denfeng Yaoguai here to mid.
Wow, RWM into the Bandit's Rage is so deadly. Zed knocked out by the circling Eagle and still gets out, even taking Cammy's life with him. Denfeng Yaoguai is so good at these short skirmishes.
Oh yeah, very good. Like, they understand the meta.
Yeah.
It's all about burst. Take someone down, get out. Take someone down, get out. It's not about prolonged team fights anymore. You get what you want, reset, do it all over again.
When you have someone like Nolan, low cooldown, consistent damage, you are always looking for these short bursts. And it's one of the few heroes that has that capacity when you compare it to other assassins. No one comes close to Nolan to having short cooldowns and consistent bursts every 5 to 10 seconds. Now Turtle in control by Chinese team. Denfeng Yaoguai finds the suppression. Jasmine needs to get out. Worldy committed. It's gonna bounce around the camp. Turtle for the red side. And Denfeng Yaoguai will not put pressure on that bot turret.
Oh yeah, and it looks like with the lead that they have, over 3,000 gold here, they might be able to secure this. And I want to talk about the systematic movements coming in from Denfeng Yaoguai. They got top, they got mid, now they want bottom. They want all outer turrets first.
Bandit's Rage committed, completely goes wide. They do keep that structure alive, but I feel like if you're a Nightmare, you need to look for avenues elsewhere. They find the control onto Zed, who's looking to get away, but gets dunked on by the Raging Sandstorm. A good pickup. E1 gets pulled back, but unfortunately, no confirmation for Nightmare.
Speaking of Nightmare, this is a very bad situation for Cammy. 7 minutes in, almost 8 minutes, and only now getting the first item, the Blade of Despair. That's a very late first item time for any marksman. It's clear that Cammy did not have a good laning phase. 7 minutes in, first item. Usually for a B-Trace, you're looking at 5 to 6 minutes.
Yeah, despite getting the solo kill, he ended up getting traded. Now Oppa will be pulled back. They will kidnap this Khalid. Gets pulled out by the Matilda. So a good escape from Nightmare Esports. They will get control of top tier 1, at least. PCO has the flicker, but with him into Long. Long now has the flicker. A good Raging Sandstorm from Oppa to secure 2 kills for Nightmare. But KalVJ is in the backline. Oppa will be traded back. KalVJ has the flicker away. Darkwave pulls Cammy back in front of Pursuit. Over the wall. Too easy for Lexi. Gets Zed. KalVJ continues to fight, but runs out of resources as Cammy picks up that one.
Despite Too Easy for Lexi having a bad time in the early game, but now he's really working as a peel. And it looks like Cammy might be having that as low first item because building up to multiple items at once, because immediately after that, Cammy got the Malefic gun. So honestly, it's still good timing here for Cammy. Yeah, looking at the items, it looks like he's building. First item took so long.
Next item to be Malefic Gun. A bit of a micro mistake from Denfeng Yaoguai. They got the fleeting time onto PCU right before the top 5, but he ended up bringing Jasmine into his own gold lane, resulting in a fight loss. But luckily, they have a decent lead still, right? Almost 2,000. They have control of the Lord. They just gotta remember that you have to go in and out fast.
You gotta look at PCU. Right now, Conceal. Will he get Jasmine?
Yeah, if you take out Jasmine, that's a good start. That completely stops Nightmare from having any authority in taking these long drawn-out fights. They will try to jump onto PCU though, but again, he has fleeting time, so the Divine Judgment has reduced cooldown. Lord is incredibly low. Too easy for Lexi. Has a chance to go for the dice roll. They goes to RWM, trading both sides, but it's Zed that comes out on top. They take out the Alpha, and Denfeng Yaoguai continues the dominance. Oppa goes down, 2 more kills and a Lord.
Zed is having an amazing game for himself, winning out that Retribution battle. It did seem like Dianfen Yaguai, this is on purpose. They wanted to fight. They didn't want the Lord first. They want to make sure that they have the numbers game unlocked. They want to make sure that they have more priority in terms of the number of players around the Lord, and then they executed on it. That was an amazing play coming in from Dianfen Yaguai.
I agree. Even the usage of the RWM, even though Nightmare Esports so stole it, but you see the placement, right? Dianfen Yaguai completely boxed off Too Easy Luxy from the rest of his team. He had to commit the Spirit of Alpha just to attempt the steal. So at the end of the day, I think the onus is always going to be on Nightmare to make that counter move, but you can't do it because there's a Kaja on the other side waiting to pull you into oblivion.
Yi1 having the highest damage here. Conceal play. It looks like they're not going to take it. They're just going to use the conceal to grab a free turret here. But yeah, Yi1 hasn't died yet. Highest damage in the game by far. The front lines from Nightmare is not having a good time. But if that's the only case, no problem. But the thing is, even the back lines is having problems.
Yeah. The biggest, and on top of that, when your roamer is the Matilda, you saw that one Void Crystal, right?
Yeah.
One blast took away like, what, 15% of Jasmine's HP. You cannot kind of go for these trades anymore. Who's gonna check the bush? You can't do it because there's PCU just waiting as the Kaja to pull you away. And every single kill and assist conversion, every single takedown becomes an advantage.
Look at itemization here. How is the Matilda supposed to actually tank? 2 magic items here. Not defensive. And now PCU, he has the fleeting time. So whoever he picks off and gets another kill, he basically can have 2 Divine Judgments in one team fight. The Malefic gun as well, like you said, Husky, has been built by Long. So you have the range, you have the damage, you have the penetration. This Bruno is online.
This Bruno has already reached that critical mass. And if you're Nightmare Esports, you're asking yourself right now, how do we get to the Bruno? We have to commit flickers for sure, but it
Opera,
guarantees nothing, right?
It's
like,
Opera and Jasmine, they got to make it happen.
Man, I
I
agree.
No, here's the thing, Husky. It's not just Long. If they can get Long and Yi1, that's what they want.
It's asking too much, though.
Hey, if you want to win, you got to make the impossible possible.
You're correct. Got to be greater than ever. It's one of the moments. Circling Eagle only onto PCU. That's really not the guy you want to commit on. They will still try. Oh my god, that's 3 shots from Long. If only the first one was the crit, that would have been an instant kill.
Valentina's very small weakness is range, man, because she's a mid-range hero. And most marksmen with Malefic gun outranges her by so far. It's really hard for Valentina in this situation to really get something done.
PCU has no flicker. He sees it happening almost post so Lord slain by Dianfen Yaguai. So second Lord for them, 13 minutes into the game. This is going to allow them to start breaking inhibitors. But I'm going to ask you, Lofel, if this game goes late, right? If we hit critical mass, both teams reaching that 50k net worth, is it still an even game, or do you feel like just because of the team comp of Dianfen Yaguai, they have that advantage?
Dianfen Yaguai has an advantage where they can always make a fight 4v5 because of the Kaja. Nightmare Esports, they have an advantage because their marksmen can deal AoE damage. So Nightmare Esports, they can definitely do it because Beatrix is one of the best scaling heroes in the game. The only problem is this Kaja always makes it unfair.
Yeah. They'll try and go on to the long, but you see that range from the Malefic gun. Couple of hits is all it takes. No abandoned rage already. They try to clear the wave out, but that's 2 inhibitors down. Doesn't help when the Lord is crashing in. Dianfen Yaguai looking for a potential game 1, or at least that opportunity. RWM committed by E1. Tries to force away Nightmare Esports, but the team not really following up with it. All they care about is the structures. They get all 3 hits.
Right now, no more inhibitors for Nightmare Esports. And the thing that made them survive this long is the fact that PCU doesn't have a flicker. If he had a flicker, trust me, Husky, they would force it. They would force it.
I can see that happening. You did point out that, you know, for the coaching staff of Dianfen Yaguai, you got Sasa, who's looking at the fundamentals. You're seeing it really built up very well. There's a burst opportunity on the Opera. They will not commit the Divine Judgment just yet, but here Jasmine. They go. Jasmine getting caught out of position, and Dianfen Yaguai opportunistic.
0, 2, and 10. The only thing is he uses Flicker as well, so they can't force an engagement after this unless VJ actually wants the front line, wants to force a fight here.
There is no way, but it feels like they're going to try anyways. Too easy for Lexi, finds the Spear of Alpha, but the damage is just too much. They even missed the Nibiru's Passion from Cammy, and now Dianfeng Yao Guai will just tap the Crystal. Game number 1 going over to DFYG.
Dianfeng Yao Guai starts off amazingly strong. Just from this one battle, Husky. Let me remind you, the last time the Chinese region was here, they couldn't win a single match in the M5 wildcard.
Yeah.
Starting M6 wildcard, very first game, they got their W.
I know it's early to say this, but it's a preview of how far the region has come, right? Last year we saw KVG, and imagine KVG was the team that beat Dianfeng Yao Guai twice in the playoffs, knocked them into the lower bracket, beat them in the finals again before the M6 Swiss stage and wildcard. So at the end of the day, if this is a preview, a taste of what the second seed of the Chinese region has to offer, I am looking forward to the rest of M6.
And again, we gotta talk about what really happened in that game, right? Where it's about understanding. Fundamentally, what did the patch note tell us? Everyone's HP pool has been reduced, so burst damage is very, very strong. You got the Bruno, you got the Nolan, and you got the Kaja. This is a recipe to make sure that the opposing side doesn't have a chance to deal with your damage. And the fact that they have an Eve, just in case if something goes wrong, amazing drafting coming in from Dianfeng Yao Guai.
Yeah, you got the Eve and the Phobias as kind of like the front lines, right? The phalanx of the team. And at the same time, you also have to look at the minor details that happen. PCU stealing that orange buff, absolute disaster for the Alpha in the early game.
Shows in this game, you just need one small mistake to really turn the tides of the game. Where we will be looking at the post-game stats after this, but Nightmare Esports, their draft was absolutely amazing as well. It's just that their win condition is much more niche, it's much more narrow. The fact that they need to win the laning phase in the early stages of the game, and they were able to do that, made it so that their draft was much more difficult to pilot.
I think the question always comes down to, I want to play fast, and how does the enemy stop me from playing fast, right? I feel like when you look at Matilda and Alpha, it sometimes feels a bit weird because Alpha doesn't necessarily have the most burst damage. It's not a Nolan that can one-shot you at level 3. Alpha needs some time and more setup. So if the Nolan gets a head start, you see that impact instantly. Zed was just outpacing Too Easy for Lexi at every turn.
Right now, I want to look at the items. This is where I want to take my time here because both Cammy as well as Long have really showcased that the Malefic Gun, Husky, is really starting to be a part of the conversation in the meta here. Where, like I said, range is also something that's very important in this current patch.
Yeah, we always have the golden rules of any mobile games where the further you are from your opponent, the better it is, the safer you are to do damage, right? The more damage you have, the easier it is to take down your opponents and end the fight. And the tankier you are, the easier it is for you to keep controlling your opponents. These golden rules now apply when you look at Malefic Gun, and it does make me wonder, are we going to finally start pivoting away from more late game focused heroes just because some of them don't really want the Malefic Gun?
I don't know, man. Looking at the way that Dianfeng Yao Guai plays, this is the first game. It's only 15 minutes. So I feel like going to the late game is pretty ambitious, personally for me. Because even the Roamer is building a fleeting time, which is not a staple tank item, right? More utility, more damage. And again, it really synergizes what we're talking about when we're talking about what the game really asks of us, which is more damage.
And you can even see that being reflected in the emblems and talents itself. Cammy went for tenacity as opposed to Long, who had the Master Assassin. And that kind of gives us a good idea of how Long was able to almost solo kill Cammy in that top side, in that early game, right? And you combine that with isolated targets, you want this Matilda to dive this Bruno, it is never gonna happen.
Yeah, Jasmine as well. Honestly, not his fault. In terms of the item or the emblem setup, this is how you build your Matilda. But now we got to look at the post-game stats here. Again, E1 having the most amount of damage, 95,000. But look at Nightmare. the most that they were able to do is around 40-ish thousand, both Cammy as well as Soso, unable to break 50K.
Yeah, it is really rough when your Valentina is literally the man that is dealing the most damage. But when you look at objective-wise, right, 2 out of 3 turtles for Dianfeng Yao Guai, both lords going to them. The buffs though,
Oh
13 to 3, 12 to 4. How are you ever going to go into your jungle if you are too easy for Lexi?
Good eye, Husky. I kind of feel like if anyone wants to make an analysis, looking at the buff is actually the most important part. This shows pure jungle control by Dianfeng Yao Guai. So the draft is amazing.
Yeah.
But the way that they control the map has to be studied.
The power of the Nolan, right? Nolan it's himself is already great. If I move faster, I get to your camp first with Retribution. There's no way you can do it. You'll never get your buff in time, but it doesn't help when the rest of the team is just following him. Imagine you try to contest your jungle camp and there's a Kaja waiting in a bush.
Yeah, the fact that Kaja slows you down as well makes it so that even if the Nolan is yards away, all of a sudden he's there. Just because the slow from Kaja really helps out a lot, making it so that Nolan easier for him to get into the fight. Now we got to transition into game number 2 because again, the draft from Nightmare is very solid. The only thing is the win condition is very niche and looks like against Dianfeng Yao Guai is difficult to execute. Or Nightmare can just go back to the same strat. Except this time maybe the execution is a little bit different.
I think you also have to make some adjustments to the draft, right, on what you ban out. I think the Kaja now becomes a bit of a problem. Now, the Dianfeng Yao Guai has shown it in game 1. But also that Fulvis into Khalid, I was expecting Oppa to move around a lot more often, but that didn't happen. We only saw him on the map post-level 4, and by the time they've already started getting snowballed on. So I think some early game micro adjustment needs to be made, but MVP is E1 on the Eve. What can I say, right? It's just a premier Eve game.
What we can say is the amount of control that he really dealt. Like, he really showcased his job because he was able to deal a lot of damage, especially to the front lines. And this is what we really want to see. And I feel like Yi1 enables the team. The Kaja wants to catch someone and the Nolan wants to deal out the damage, but you're very much vulnerable whenever you do that. So having a control mage that does a lot of damage like Eve really activates your team where it looks like you're vulnerable to be caught. You're vulnerable to making mistakes, but Yi1 is like, I got your back. You can do whatever you want. Any mistake will look like an opportunity.
Yeah. And I think when we look at the MVP highlights coming up, we would see kind of the dynamics between E1 and PSU, where every single time he gets dive, there is going to be a Divine Judgment waiting to be unleashed if it hasn't been used just yet. And if it has been used, you got Kel VJ just blocking off any sort of dive. It doesn't feel good if you're so trying to steal the RWM, because realistically, sure, you have the same Eve ultimate, but the effect is so much different because your team wants to go in, but they cannot because they get boxed off by the real-world manipulation.
Something kind of weird as well, I see multiple times. Yi1 even pseudo body blocks for Zed. Like the previous fight around mid, Zed was so low, and Yi1 was actually intercepting the path between Nightmare Esports and Zed. So that he was like, yo, if someone's gonna die, it's not gonna be Zed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be controlling you guys. I might die, but as long as he gets away, we're all good.
That's a good teammate right there.
That's a good teammate.
I wouldn't do that. If you go down, that's your problem. Just play better, right?
That's the kind of thing that someone says when they go to 5 hours of rank and only winning 4 stars.
Let me tell you, it was a quite an experience. I enjoyed every single game.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
For those who got the honor to witness my Lancelot gameplay, please forget about it because I had nightmares about my own gameplay.
Hey.
I can't play Lancelot to save my life.
Hey. You know how to make that better?
How?
Say hello. Hello, Panda! Fill your game with Hello Panda. Crunchy biscuits filled with creamy chocolate, the ultimate snack to keep you energized. Level up your day and visit Hello Panda's website for more. This is not going to stay long on the desk. Let me just tell you that. Right now, I'm keeping discipline,
Yep.
but
I'm getting the munchies a little bit.
just saying, this ain't going to be here for the rest of the day.
Probably,
By the end of the day, it's gone.
It's gonna be gone.
It's going to be gone.
It's gonna be gone. I had lunch, but now I get the munchies. Can I have one? Maybe not now. Maybe not now. I don't think I can. It's quite far away. LaFell, please. I'll ask later. Maybe you'll change your mind.
Does it look weird? No, it looks completely natural.
No, it looks pretty obvious.
No.
Yeah.
Hey. Eyes up here.
You know.
Eyes up here, Husky.
It looks like a rig packet though.
Oh,
Looks
okay.
like a rig packet. Ah, yes. Thank you. Make it fair for us. You know what? Put it in the middle.
All right, you know what? Fine.
Now this is fair. Thank you very much. I have just
Behind
tricked you.
Kadilla.
This is mine. This is mine now.
Game number 2. Does Nightmare go with the same game plan? Trying to win the early game.
If they're gonna be on red side,
Then they have to ban out the Jushins, the Fannies and such, yeah.
but they might get the Cho first phase, which is a big boon for them. They love that hero a lot. I feel like comparing Matilda and Cho, I will go Cho any day.
I feel like specifically for their playstyle, I would agree. Right? Because I feel like Matilda and Cho, they kind of do the same thing differently. Because a Matilda is all about someone else goes in front and then you pull them back. But the Cho, I start things out first and then you guys continue to deal the damage. So it's very different sequence between both Matilda as well as a Cho, where Matilda is more methodical, where a Cho is more aggressive, more instinct-based.
Yeah, I think it also comes down to the setup, right? When you look at Matilda, circling Eagle, advantage, you could hit more than one target. Disadvantage, takes a lot more to set up, but where the Dragon, you get to not only isolate targets, but you get to follow them to where you send them to, right? So it gives you a bit of a safety net overall. I think in this case, if you're looking at pickups, Cho feels better.
Yeah, but right now we have a WhatsApp here from Cami. We asked, what do you think is the difference between Filipino and Laotian coaches? He said Filipino coaches are more professional. Laotian coaches were not players before. They try to help on what they can, but the players know the game better. Exxon has helped us in our micro and macro gameplay and also the timing, especially in lane.
I think the most important thing about this meta is I like the fact that timing is brought up, because we've seen time and time again that early game matters so much, right? Whoever gets the first move, whoever gets the first objective, you feel like it's a mountain that is so hard to climb once the enemy gets a hit.
Yeah, and now we're about to begin the second drafting phase here in the wildcards. Nightmare going up against Tianfen Yaoguai, where so far, folks, if you guys just tune in, Tianfen Yaoguai has won game number 1 against Nightmare. Now Nightmare has to win this one in order for them to even out the odds, but it looks like Tianfen Yaoguai is second pick and Nightmare is still first pick.
That does change it up a little bit, right? Like, Cho is still good, but that means that you gotta pick it second to third. We haven't seen Tianfen Yaoguai show that Cho in any manner. Obviously, the playstyle between the roamers are completely different in game number 1. I expect it to be as such. Maybe PC just don't feel as comfortable. So that's a minor advantage for Nightmare Esports.
Something that Nightmare can consider. Going up against a pick-off comp, something like a Kaja. Either have a very tanky front line, something like a Hylos can do wonders. And if you don't want that and you want to counter-engage, then you can start considering picks like the Edith.
That too, I definitely agree with those picks. Not only you have front line, but at the same time, you provide a lot more control in these team fights. So the bans actually are not different at all, except for the Eve ban. Yeah. So they traded the Loyi for the Eve.
Yeah, I kind of feel like here the Khalid actually was still okay. Let's see here. Something that they can consider is that maybe don't pick up the Alpha, because there's a chance that the Nolan can be picked up. Not saying that the Alpha is a bad pick, but perhaps Too Easy for Lexi is more of an assassin guy rather than a fighter guy.
Yeah, I think if you want to play faster, you have to start looking at Nolan. You have to start looking at Suyo in this case. They do take the Khalid first. I can get by with that. So I'm expecting a Phobius pick once more for KelVJ. He has done wonders in game 1. In a way, I think Khalid, because you have the advantage to move early, it has to be a lot more prevalent for Oppa in that first few minutes, which was not present in game 1. But if he adjusts that, I think it would be more manageable up against the Phobius if it gets picked.
Yeah, honestly, like you pick up a very good point. The fact that we don't see the Khalid a lot does show that KelVJ not just win his lane, but he won it so hard.
Something went wrong, you know?
That the Khalid can't roam. So actually, you brought up a very good point in the previous conversation where KelVJ, we don't see him a lot on camera as well, but looks like he really controlled Oppers to the point where Dianfen Yaguai has two heroes that makes it a 4v5 or 3v5.
Yes. Yeah, Phovis comes back. Vexana gets picked up as well. I do like this change. Now that the Yif is gone, you still have Vexana, which is sort of a control mage in her own way. That hero was banned out in game number 1 by Dianfen Yaoguai themselves. So I do like this, right? Great early to mid game objective contest would be such a nightmare. Imagine playing 4v5, but what if it's a 6v5 right now because of that Eternal Guard?
I would say pick up the Nolan here if 2AZ for Lexi is comfortable of using it going up against Dianfen Yaoguai, because Zed has shown that he is incredible on that Nolan, and if not, maybe pick up the Suyo. Show us what you got.
I think the only caveat with the Nolan is that you're playing into Vexana and Phovis, right? You have to be pixel perfect with your movements. You gotta be able to track all these abilities. You get caught by a Dark Wave, you get caught by just even the Phovis passive is lights out. So they go for the safer pick. We talk about the Cho coming for Jasmine. I do like this pick a lot more compared to the Matilda.
Yeah, and later on, Dianfen Yaoguai, after showing more of the draft, maybe pick up something with a little bit more range for the mid lane. Because as strong as Valentina is picking up that Eternal Guard, maybe something that can able to deal with Lung might be much better. And now Suyo is getting picked up, so they're looking at this Cho and they're looking at this Alpha as like, Nolan's not bad.
Yeah.
But Suyo's probably better.
Iframes, right?
Iframes,
Iframes make all the difference, and technically you are slightly more beefy in the immortal form. You got crowd control immunity with your your Blade Surge and your Quell the Evil in the immortal form, of course. So I like the change from Dianfen Yaoguai. They definitely put a lot of thought into how to deal with that Cho.
Interesting to see Dianfen Yaoguai has picked up all the heroes that has been nerfed. But they're strong, dude. They're strong, dude.
Hey, I mean, if I win with these heroes, right? What else is stopping me?
If they win with these heroes, then Munda's like, okay, I guess it wasn't enough.
I mean, they did come up with a patch based off of like our public games, right? So you know, that's the difference, right? You buff Fanny because she doesn't have a high enough win rate in pub games. You look at pro games, my goodness, Fanny is perma-ban even when she's nerfed. So it really shows the big difference, the big contrast. I mean, the pro environment, we got the...
Yeah, let me just say, when I saw the Fanny got buffed, I laughed so hard that my neighbor complained. And then when I told my neighbor what happened, and then my neighbor laughed too.
Yeah, I saw the Fanny buff, and I asked my family, like, what do you think of this? My family was like, doesn't look good. And I'm like, you're correct.
Yeah.
Doesn't look good at all.
I asked my mom, and she's like, no.
It's a bad, well, it's not a bad choice, but it's interesting. Well, at least we won't be able to see her often anyway, so I mean, in pro games it doesn't really matter, but in pubs, yeah, now that's a premier banned hero. I do like this Paramis ban though. It's very different from what, you know, Dianfen Yaoguai have considered. They even banned a Valentina.
Okay, so both these mages are mid-range heroes, which is very interesting. So, I wonder if Long still wants the Bruno here, which according to data, it really should be.
Yeah.
So does Nightmare actually respects that and then ban out the Bruno?
I feel like you can consider, but it doesn't feel good enough.
Yeah.
Right? The Bruno can still take Purify, right? There's a Cho, sure, I can just take Purify and I can negate the
It doesn't feel good, but yeah, you can.
It doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel as good now that there's still like die potential, but it is a possibility. So they banned the Tigreal, which is a problem when you're running a Cho. You don't want to get sucked in by Implosion. Bruno, I feel like they could even leave Bruno for last. Well, at least the Marksman for last, because you're on red side.
Yeah, for sure. But an argument can be made. You want to see the entire draft before choosing your roamer.
Kaja still doesn't feel that bad, right? If there's a Cho, sure, I can just pull you. Yep, Bruno comes back up, no surprise. So that's 4 nerf heroes. Was Bruno nerfed?
No,
okay, Bruno is not nerfed, but 3 out of 4 of them has been nerfed.
The Beatrix, I feel like, was fine, but I just don't know if it's Cammy's type of hero, because Cammy so far uses a lot of magic-based heroes. Has been using the Natan a lot, has been using the Harriv and such. So his Beatrix is okay, but maybe if you still want that late game, maybe consider the Natan, something that you're a little bit more comfortable with.
It's a topic that we kind of brought up. We touched on just a bit in the pre-game, right? Like, does late game hero feel as good now that games end average faster? I know his preference is more towards mage and late game scaling heroes. Beatrix feels like a good balance in between, right?
Yeah.
Early to mid doesn't feel bad. Late game, absolute monster. It should be an Aurora pick for Nightmare. There's not really much choice left. The Kaja doesn't look too bad, honestly, even though there are Aurora and Cho.
I mean, here's the thing. The rules of using a cash composition is who gets there first. If the Cho kicks me, good game, I lose. If I catch Cho first, good game, I win. Do they want to play that game? If they don't want to play that game, they can go for something simple like a high loss. I was talking about the Edith. The Edith still works fine here. There's a lot of options for sure.
Actually, I'm digging the high loss, right? You have a guaranteed stun with the Law and Order. It's great against the three front lines of Nightmare Esports. It enables the Phovis so much more as well. Do they want to play that ego game? Let's see. For PCU. Yep. Wow, good call.
Yeah. Hyla's been picked up here so far for both teams. A very solid composition here, not seeing a lot of mistakes. It really is just about the execution, where Nightmare, this time with the Cho, they can start forcing a few more fights.
I'm not crazy, right? All 5 heroes.
You're not crazy.
Yeah, I remember that something I was up with Bruno, but I just can't put my finger on it. So all 5 of them were nerfed. Hey, yo.
Even if it's nerf, it's super strong. Technically, Husky, we can say everyone got nerfed because of the HP decrease.
Yeah, except for Marksman though. Marksman has always been that solid.
Oh yeah.
I mean, nerf is just a perspective. I mean, for high loss, it was banned in game 1.
It's all about mindset, Husky.
Yep. Yeah, it is.
You could say like, the weaker you make my hero, the stronger I become. And now, speaking of becoming stronger, game number 2 between Nightmare against Demfan Yaguai right now. Match point for DFYG. Can Nightmare equalize? Can they win this one? And then push us to game number 3. Welcome to the Land of Dawn.
I feel like we are already at the cusp of a fraction of history being made for the Chinese region, just because Denfeng Yaoguai might just get the first series win for the region overall on the international stage. We've seen game wins from KBG, but never a series in a 2-0 fashion against a team like Nightmare that's so decorated. That already feels like a big improvement from last time.
Yeah, now we can see KLVJ. This time we're actually looking at the laning phase, and he definitely has a better trade going up against the Khalid. The only thing is that the Khalid can heal up, so it's not that punishing.
Also looking at how much impact Jasmine has, right? Like, you're getting controlled so much, and it's so hard to walk up. If PCU had that Law and Order at level 2, that would potentially be a dead show. Forced to recall this early doesn't feel good at all.
Something to look at, actually. Nightmare Esports, 4 out of 5 members actually have Thrill in their emblem setup. So it does look like they want to be more aggressive in the early game. They want to make sure that they have a lot of base damage.
They know what to say. Damage is king, right? That extra 18 adaptive damage at level 1. Oh, sweet numbers.
Yeah, and again, KLVJ, look at how he's moving around Opera. He's cutting the path. He knows where Opera is going to move, and he's like, I'm going to make sure I'm here first. You can't move forward. KLVJ is doing an amazing job as an EXP laner to make sure that one of the benefits of a Khalid is not being used.
When you go up against the Kings, you best not miss KLVJ. Like you said, literally a brick wall. Like, it's very rare that you see Khalid getting kind of stumped in this position. The Phobius gets to move first. That does not feel good.
Oh, yeah. Different rotation here. Looks like the roamer as well as the EXP actually absorbs the mid lane. So does this mean that E1 wants that EXP?
Oh, KLVJ is going to be 4. Red 3, 5 goes. Too easy for Lexi. Will find the turtle. Avengers will not help KLVJ. First blood for Nightmare.
I don't know whether it was intended or not, but Yeon wasn't level 4, which I feel like the EXP lane was open for him to absorb that minion wave. And again, I don't know if that's part of the plan, but I would imagine that they wanted Yeon to get that level 4 first in the EXP, and then join the fight around Turtle.
I agree. I think having the Eternal Guard is so much more valuable than maybe PCU getting that level 4 with the Glorious Pathway. It doesn't change much, and it doesn't help when Jasmine basically zoned out the Vexana from the fight. So now they get to kind of put that pressure on the top side, get to freeze the turret a little bit. Long still taking that fight. Jasmine spotted out by PCU. Mid side, Yi1 getting gone on Eternal Guard drop. Jasmine even flickers, but couldn't find the kick as Yi1 traced his.
Definitely a big change here where Nightmare Esports has more control around the map. They have more tempo, and the change of having this Cho really makes it very, very impressive. And again, something that we might be able to study after this is the emblem setup. Everyone, I believe, except Soso, has that thrill. So Cammy has early damage, Jasmine has early damage, Too Easy for Lexi has early damage, Opper as well has early damage, even though he's not able to utilize it going up against KLVJ. But so far, the strat looks good.
Yeah. And thankfully with Jasmine and So, they get to kind of negate the disadvantage that that Oppa has to kind of suffer in that early game, right? They're continuing to put pressure onto Long. It's not like PCO is on a Kaja, right? So now diving feels a bit better. And here comes 4-man dive, rating Sandstorm flicker into a kick. Purify gets used by Long, but the damage is just too much. Jasmine finds the takedown.
Yeah, not much that PCO can really do. Nightmare already starting off very, very good. The fact that Cammy is able to clear the wave that fast, now Cammy can join the turtle fight. So Dianfen Yaguai, no matter what, is going to be a 5-man fight from Nightmare. Nightmare should be the ones to really control this this neutral objective. And now even Too Easy for Lexi has the War Axe.
And you see the difference between the Suyo and the Nolan, right? The burst from Suyo just not as much early on. They find the Terrify, KLVJ to the back, Retribution War. Again, not even close. Too Easy for Lexi finds the objective. Zed gets out, but Selkate goes down again.
Good idea coming in from KLVJ, but Jasmine, he went to the back line, making sure that no follow-up is going to be there.
Yeah.
We see the idea here from KLVJ is like, okay, we might not be able to get this turtle, but maybe we can get a kill.
Without the Eve, it is very different, right? Vexana, you use that Terrify or Eternal Guard, that utility goes right out the window. You have such a long cooldown in these early stage. So the control area of control for Dianfen Yaoguai definitely not as much as game 1.
Yeah, and I like what you brought up. Not having the Eve here, that also might be the big difference maker for Dianfen Yaoguai. Vexana is good, but it's definitely not a replacement for an Eve.
Yeah, it's kind of like a budget Eve. I would even say Aurora kind of feels slightly better in certain regards, right? If you have a Cho that's running at you, I definitely feel like Aurora makes a bit more difference. They drop the Eternal Guard onto Jasmine, who is just soaking it up. KLVJ blocking out Yi1. He doesn't have, oh, he has to use Flicker actually to get out of that. That would have been pretty deadly. Commit a full combo onto KLVJ. Not getting much. Jasmine goes in, looks for the knockup. Jikundo gets it. KLVJ re-engages. PCO Law and Order. The verdict being Jasmine's demise. KLVJ pulls vengeance, but the damage from Cammy gives him a double kill.
Yeah, and this is where we see the priority lies with Cammy. Cammy was all alone in the bottom lane, Husky. He could have stayed there. He could have for sure grabbed that objective. But this is the teamwork of Nightmare Esports. He rotated mid, get those kills, and able to get the mid lane. And now he might even get this bottom lane as well.
It feels so much better. It feels so good when your roamer is able to set up and tank damage, not like a Matilda that just gets blown up in an instant. Too Easy for Lexi is one level ahead. Oppa now gets the pressure along. Obviously not much, right? This Bruno still hurts like a truck. Has to be very careful with how he moves. And with this Bruno out of commission for now, Nightmare Esports gets to move around a lot more.
By the way, can I just shout out the... Right now we have the trophy in the Line of Dawn.
Oh yeah.
Right, when Bruno was fighting against Opera, I saw that at the side. Oh, hold on. DCU taking a lot of damage.
It's a good Law and Order to stop the kick. Jasmine out of position. This KLVJ takes him out. Oppa from the corner. Yeah, Long is almost walked out to it. Oppa will just go on to him. Long will fight back, uses the Wordy, but keeps his Purify. So it's not that bad for Dianfen Yaoguai.
Looks like the idea for both EXP laners, KLVJ as well as Opera, is just like man-to-man defense. Don't let whoever you're assigned to move around the map. KLVJ stopped Opera, and this time Opera is going to stop Long. He's going to make sure that Opera will die, but Long is nowhere near the fight.
I would argue stopping the Cho is so much important. Too Easy for Lexi gets the third turtle again. And KLVJ, he's so deep in the Revitalize, not in range to save him. So Cammy on the killing spree.
All the while, Opera was on to Yi1. Like, Yi1 was not a part of that fight just because Opera was able to find him in the backline and then push him away. And Yi1, his playstyle is very, very safe. He's going to make sure that he doesn't die. And Opera exploited that.
I think that the downside right now, or at least how Dianfen Yaoguai has been playing, there's no one to peel for Yi1. It's not like game 1 where you have a Kaja, we have a Phoveus that can focus on the back. They get a 3-man knockout with Eternal Guard. That is huge. But where's the damage? Jasmine finds the kick into the wall though, so got a flicker to get away. A disengage coming out from Nightmare on the top side. But going back to what I was saying, your Yoroma, the high loss, he's so focused on trying to dive with KelVJ that E1 has to fend for himself, and it's never gonna feel good.
Right now, Zed going up against Opper. Opper taking quite a bit of damage, but again, Opper is building defense, so this should not be a problem for him. Looking at the itemization here, Opper, even though only has the Thunder Belt, by this time he should be able to have maybe 7 or 8 stacks. So he has quite a bit of defense here. Other itemizations as well, we can already see that Cammy, 8 minutes in, already having 2 items, the Blade of Despair as well as the Malefic Gun, compared to the Bruno also having 2 items, the Hospital as well as the Berserker Fury. The damage is there, the range is not there for the Bruno just yet.
Part of me feels like Dianfeng Yaoguai might need to change the approach to the fight a little bit. Instead of trying to dive the backline and lock them out, you might want to consider peeling for both Long and Yi1. Like, if you stop Jasmine, there is going to be Alpha, right? So there's more than one target that is going to constantly threaten this Vexan that's so important to your team fight. They're going to jump onto So. Jasmine from the back. PC will eat all of it up. KelVJ finds the mid laner, but unfortunately, no kills just yet. Long onto Jasmine, who will use the shuffle away. KelVJ finds the kill onto So. Long now threatened, but PC will just use his body to block it up. Jasmine tries to go for the king onto Yi1, but Long is saved, and this time, KelVJ is able to stall out the fight.
Dude, it was good by Yi1 as well. As long, did you see how they managed all this dive coming in from Nightmare?
Yeah.
Jasmine tried to kick them.
That's exactly what you need to do, right? Peel for the backline, stop the dive. The difference is there. Flicker into Raging Sandstorm. Long is now the target. Tries to heal up with the Heart's Claw. It's still a 1-for-1 trade. And they take this Lord though. Too easy for Lexi. He has Cammy with him, but he's so low. An attempted steal, not done. Zed will not win that Nightmare with Lord.
Cammy this time is having a much better game. 4-0-3. Damage dealt. Yi1 still at the top. Surprisingly, 33,000 damage dealt. Even though Yi1, more often than not, gets zoned out quite far away from the team fight. So Yi1, if he has a good setup.
Oh yeah.
If Yi1 and Lung is not touched, it's going to be good for Dianfeng Yaoguai. Right now, let's look at the instant replay here, even though it looks like a fight is about to start. But look at Yi1. He saw that Jasmine wanted to go for him, so he was able to control him first. And that's the big difference. If Jasmine instantly gets the Vexana, probably a different fight.
I would say the focus right now is who can peel for the backline better, right? Like that fight, no one was peeling KelVJ off the rest of Nightmare's backline. That's why he's just jumping around with the Infernal Pursuit. Jasmine, flicker kick onto P. Still, they just burst him. This high loss, not part of the fight anymore. The Lord still coming in from the bot side. Dianfeng Yaoguai will have to wait for 20 seconds.
Feels good. Feels good for Nightmare there, where when you get a high loss and you can burst him down that fast, it gives you this confidence that you can fight against anyone. But at this point, Nightmare, they probably just want that holy defense, and they got it, and now they should retreat.
So the good news for Dianfeng Yaoguai is that they keep inhibitors alive. They are almost 7k behind. Another thing is, Long, he needs that Malefic Gun as soon as possible. We see the difference that it doesn't feel good, like you pointed out, if you take Purify on Bruno, but it's a necessity in this game. But without the Flicker, oh boy, any Raging Sandstorm Flicker from Oppa is gonna clip him. And he needs that Malefic Gun. He needs it so fast, but he's so far from it. Oh, wow, he just got it. Wow. Nice far, I thought.
Right now, the Wind of Nature coming in from Cammy is going to make it much more difficult for Zed and Long to actually get that kill. So this is a very big difference.
Yeah.
Over 2,000 difference between Cammy and Long. Even if Long gets free hit over to Cammy, which, judging by the range of the Beatrix, will be very rare to happen, he has to be careful. If he just tunnel visions and just basic attacks all the way and not notice that Wind of Nature, that could be the game-ending fight for Dianfeng Yaoguai.
How fast can you force it out is also a question. It spells a bit of problem for KelVJ because you dive onto Cammy, but we saw the impact of Nightmare Esports burst damage, right? You get caught once and you just disappear thanks to Banner's Rage. Even get the Demon Hunter Sword, so good luck being a tank if you are Dianfeng Yaoguai.
Right now, I'm just looking at how they're going to win this one. But Nightmare so far, Husky has been playing very clean. Almost 7,000 gold advantage. Cammy hasn't died at all. And too easy for Lexi this time. He's able to start the fight, which is amazing. But able to peel for his backline as well. this is a different Nightmare Esports from game number 1.
Yeah, when you don't have to constantly be the first one to go in, it always feels good. Jasmine wants to look for the kick, couldn't find it, but it's good enough for the team to get the Lord. And now Nightmare Esports have an angle to go in. E1, he is so split up. Flickers away to get to safety. The freeze from So takes out E1. And Dianfeng Yaoguai on the run. KLVJ with the vengeance to the back. Can't even get Jasmine. That's unstoppable for too easy for Lexi. 3 kills for Nightmare.
Yeah, right now, Dianfeng Yaoguai, it's hard to say this, but they already got to think about game number 3 because Nightmare Esports is almost 10,000 gold ahead. And against a Beatrix, one of the best scalers in the game, this is not what you want to see. And now it looks like they want to go in mid.
Maybe one last chance for Dianfeng Yaoguai, but can they hold on for 5 seconds? So P-Seal will use the Glorious Power to slow down the minion wave and keep himself alive. But Cammy almost finding it. Jasmine just flickers for it. Get rid of the front line, finds the kick on the E1. Jasmine sets it up. And Long will have to back off. 2 inhibitors down, but bottom one will fall thanks to the Lord. And Nightmare Esports showing their true form awaken after game number 1. Dianfeng Yaoguai will put up a final defense, but it is futile as Laos will continue this run in the first BO3. We find the equalizer.
The moment the kick connects on the Vexana Husky, that's game over. Your wave clearer is done. It's out of the picture. They can end the game, and that's what they did. This time, with the Cho, they have a much more confident draft.
Yeah, we saw just the most minuscule of differences. Cho instead of Matilda onto Jasmine, the signature pick, but also the shift in ban. First game, Nightmare ban Lo Yi. Yi went through and it was a nightmare for them, but now they ban Yi first phase. That Vexana just doesn't feel as good.
Yeah, right now, Dianfeng Yaoguai, they really got to figure this out because this is the very first game of the Wildcard Husky, and we're going to all 3 games. And I would say both games were very dominant, which really shapes out our meta right now. Whoever gets that snowball going, hard for you to stop them. Really hard for you to stop them.
Yeah, incredibly tough. I came here today.
I came as well. Yeah.
So someone asked me like what are my expectations, and I said that I want all 3 games, and for 2 different reasons. First of all, we don't get to see these teams often, so I want them to have the full experience, and also for everyone else out there. But at the same time, I feel like because you only play a single round robin, you gotta be able to push yourself to the limit and your opponents. And for a part of me, I'm looking at Dianfeng Yaoguai. Will the Chinese region fall short again of a series win now that Nightmare Esports have found the momentum?
Something that I do have to say, Husky, as well, is that when you look at Nightmare, Kemi had an amazing game, but no one from Nightmare really stood out that much. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. That shows how they play as a team, make sure that everyone does their job well, to the point where it doesn't look like, oh, this single person carried everything. No, we don't see that, right? Yeah. Opera did his job by having all this crazy engage, and then once he starts to engage, Soul traps everyone in ice, and then everyone else just deals damage.
Yeah, and of course, you still have to kind of give credit to how Jasmine is able to set it up. I think the crucial point as we look at the item builds is how that early game panned out for Nightmare Esports, where Jasmine and Oppa work so well to keep Yi1 away. You look at the net worth difference between the mid laners. It is unfair. It's so unfair.
Yeah, very unfair. And again, because Yi1 is always zoned out away, either by Oppa or Jasmine.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of feel like that's the big adjustment from game number 1 to game number 2. The fights will be very difficult if their mid laner is there. So, hey, what if we just push her away?
Yeah, we limit her hero pool. We make sure that she doesn't have full control, and we play with her cooldowns, right? Every single time, if you don't have the Eternal Guard, if you don't have your Terrify, it's go time. There's nothing a Vexana can do, even with a flicker.
I feel like Dianfeng Yaoguai, they don't really have to change the hero.
I don't think so too.
Just change how you play, because you can see that Nightmare is going for Yi1. So how about just go for a draft where all of you are kiting together instead of one person, KLVJ, always being in the front, and then everyone else in the back line. Like, I feel like having this harmony in a team where saying, like, if one of us kites, all of us is kiting. If one of us is diving, everyone is diving.
Absolutely. I think we kind of touched on this a little bit in that mid-fight where Dianfeng Yaoguai found a small win because E1 and Long were able to peel away from both the Khalid and the Cho. The main difference was that they just peel better, right? That's the front to back we were expecting. Cal VJ was uncontested, and that's why he was able to stop Cammy from contributing to the fight. Then Feng Yaoguai needed to do that a bit more in game 2, but unfortunately they were too far behind to keep doing it.
Right now, we're going to look at the emblem here and look at what Nightmare is doing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 trills and 1 rupture. Where when we're looking at Denfeng Yaoguai, you know, a split of everything, but their emblem makes sense. It's just that we're starting to see a trend here. Nightmare, they want straight up stats, and they want stats on damage, not on defense.
And at the same time, it also explains why Nightmare Esports were moving around so often and so fast on the map. 3 Wilderness Blessing on the important targets, right? We talk about the mid trio. In this case, is without too easy for Lexi, they were able to bring Oppa along, even though it took him longer to get out of the lane.
Yeah. So, is it fair to say, so far we see win or lose is coming from the mid duo? Because in this game, in game number 1, Yuan looked great, So as well as Jasmine not so much. The Matilda didn't work well for game number 1. In game number 2, the Vexana didn't look all that well. So it looks like at least I honestly believe for every single match moving forward all the way to the grand finals is gonna be the same story. But at least for this season, for this match, mid duo is so important.
Yeah, I agree. If you can involve your jungler or sometimes your XP laner, a more mobile XP laner like Hilda, Khalid, then it always will feel good. I mean, it's a 13k, almost a 13k gold lead. In terms of buff contest, it's even in this game,
Yeah.
but up against Asuyo, which props to Zed for not going down for like the majority of the game until that late game rolled around. He's trying his best, but you just don't have the same impact in terms of burst, right? You don't go as fast as the Nolan.
Yeah, I just feel like the Chinese region, they just have to start being a little bit more disciplined around their fights because they're been split up multiple times. Either Yuan is split up, VJ is split up, makes it so that the front line and the back line are on different planets. And I don't want to see that. I feel like in the wildcard stage, if you want to be the champions here, if you want to go to M6, the fundamental of team fight has to be solid.
And that's something I feel like certain teams fall into. It's like a booby trap, right? When you have a Phovis on your team, the Phovis is all about go, go, go. The moment I press Infernal Pursuit, I am deep. My head is deep in the water. I have to full commit.
Yeah.
I take either Vengeance or sometimes Revitalize. It gives you that false sense of I gotta keep fighting. And we saw that in game 2, where Cal VJ, he's deep in, he's so committed that there's no one to help him. And that kind of allowed Cammy to just freely farm up as the Beatrix.
Yeah, and the thing is, he was even able to build a Demon Hunter sword just in case if his burst damage is not enough. There's gonna be some HP percent damage. So overall, Cammy had an amazing game this time. This time, he didn't lose out against Bruno, and we were talking about the emblem where in game number 1, he went for tenacity.
Yep.
This time he went for Weapon Master. It's just like, you know what? If you want to fight damage, I have damage.
Yeah, and on top of that, I call my team, right? My team kept coming to the top side. I take you down once. I take that tier 1. It is over. Now you constantly need someone to protect the Bruno because Jasmine is being kind of a mosquito. Cammy is free farming.
Yeah, let's look at the highlights here from Cammy and looking at what he has been doing all throughout the game. And this is the moment where he was at the bottom lane. He went all the way to mid, able to secure the kills and then secure the objective as well. This shows his macro understanding. He had a free turret, but he wants some kills as well.
So patient as well. I mean, the rest of Nightmare was so patient with how they played that game. And you can even see in all these small moments where Cammy was involved in the fights. This one is probably the most even one where Denfeng Yaoguai was able to kind of peel away the divers and allow Cal VJ to do his job. But aside from that, Cammy was essentially untouched, right? Like Cal VJ showed up, great, I have an Alpha to kill for me, I have Aurora to freeze him in place, and I just need to banish Rach's face.
Yeah, so really in terms of what they've been doing is that Denfeng Yaoguai, they just have to go back to basic. Make sure that they don't get punished, and then they're gonna be good. Yuan is an amazing player. Allow him to be an amazing player. Don't allow him to be zoned out by both Opper as well as Jasmine, because that's one of your losing conditions. The fact that he is not able to join the fight, that's a L, not a W.
That's a big L. And now that we've kind of talked about so much and how base HP are reduced for most heroes except for Marksman, which means mages are so much more effective early on, so you want E1 to be in the fight, not out of it. I think they just need to look back at game 1 and realize that the whole time when E1 was able to participate, that's how they got the lead.
Yeah, so something that they have to consider is, again, about the bans. They chose to be on second pick, correct? I mean, that's what we assume.
Yeah. I think
Oh, wait.
Nightmare chose
Nightmare chose first pick, yeah.
Yeah, they chose first pick, yeah.
Either way, it's like, Vexana is a strong pick. I'm not so sure if they have other picks that they want to consider going up against Nightmare, because something that I tried myself, Farsa seems very, very strong, but I don't know if that's part of their hero pool.
I kind of feel like it has to be. I think if you're a mid laner right now, you have to at least have the basics on learning the control mages like Yve, Aurora, Vexana. It's a must. Anything beyond that, Valentina, right? Valentina is probably the step up. You probably look at Farsa. I'm not sure about Xavier though. I've been quite a big fan of the Xavier in this patch, but I'm not sure how it would fare on the international stage.
I would say it's going to have the same problems where he basically gets zoned away. But to be fair, I kind of feel like that's the same issue if you use any kind of mid laner. It's really on your roamer, where I feel like, honestly, the high loss can peel for you. It doesn't peel in the same way as all of these crazy crowd control heroes, but it's all just about slowing them down, you know, the on-hit stun. So I kind of feel like PCU, he wanted to go in front where he really should be kiting back with his team.
Yeah, I think on top of that is also, we kind of saw a glimpse of these two teams. A part of me feels that their focus is a lot on not just getting the jungler ahead, but the gold laner, right? Like in game 1, Tianfeng Yaoguai has been focusing a lot on getting Long ahead, or Long on the Bruno, get him into fights as early as possible. Game 2, that was Nightmare Esports allowing Cammy's Beatrix to literally get an insurmountable lead. So coming into game 3, if that is still going to be the case, maybe Tianfeng Yaoguai has to reconsider how they played it early to mid, bring that snowball and spill it to the gold lane.
And now let's look at KLVJ here, his previous achievements. When he was with Sunsparks, fifth place in the M1, 56th place in M1, and then became MPL Mlbb in Season 4 and Season 5 champion. When he was in Execration, won MSC in 2021, and with Tianfeng Yaoguai being the first in the Chinese qualifier.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, right, 6-year veteran has found success through multiple regions, and you know, playing in the Chinese region is slightly different, right? Because it's a fresher region overall, but when you have someone that kind of knows the game from its early days until now, it does help the dynamic. And even better yet, you have a coaching staff that can kind of pass on the message, right? You kind of break that language barrier, which is a big plus for Tianfeng Yaoguai. Now is to convert that, because we've seen KLVJ, he has won his lane in a matchup that you expect the enemy XP laner to move early. He's been able to lock him in place. Now the question is, will Tianfeng Yaoguai try to leverage that to spill that lead into KLVJ, or they could do the alternative and take KLVJ's oppression and spill it elsewhere?
So right now we gotta go into the draft here, and I really feel like I want to focus on roam as well as mid, because this really so far has been the showcase here. Nightmare has the momentum.
Oh yeah.
Tianfeng Yaoguai, they need the expertise of both Lunges as well as Sasa to calm them down, remember your fundamentals, and keep your head in the game. They cannot take that loss and, you know, like, get distracted. But now Tianfeng Yaoguai, they're the ones in the first pick, and they're betting out their own heroes. Well, except for the Alpha.
Huh, this is interesting. Though this could be a way to set themselves up for success as well, because to limit the pool that Nightmare can go for. Right now you could take Khalid, you could take Gato Kacha if you want to. And you could take the Hilda as well, which was a pick that we've been waiting to see. Banned in game 1, let through in game 2, but no one picked it up. So now you want to oppress the enemy jungler, you have a perfect pick for that.
And now we have a fun fact. Tianfeng Yaoguai's Vexana pick last game is the hero's first appearance in history of the M series. And Nightmare's Aurora pick last game is the hero's first appearance in the history of the M series as well. This has shown how different this season of the M series compared to the previous one. But again, jumping back in here, it is the Hilda, which has been buffed. And again, pick or ban, man, pick or ban. This Hilda is... Everyone's HP got nerfed, sure, but Hilda feels tanky as hell.
I mean, if any hero that has an execute ability always feels good, you know? So the Harry gets picked up for Cammy, the Gato Kacha as well. Great flex on the side of Nightmare. And if you are playing into a Hilda, you really don't care about the Hilda. I'm a Gato Kacha, what can you do against me, right?
Yeah, but now it does look like Nightmares, they're playing more on the, I would say comfort. Because Cammy loves magic damage goal laners, and he's going, well, where else is this Harv gonna go, right? And so goal lane Harv here alongside with the Gato Kacha, and this time EFYG, they pick up the Cho and the Suyo.
I was thinking whether you want the Nolan or Suyo. I think Suyo is still a decent choice. Again, it's not really on Zed in the previous game, right? He's just not enabled, but him as an individual has been really solid, matching up with Too Easy for Lexi. There is one pick I'm looking at for Dianfeng Yao Guai. It's not the Bruno. I'm looking at the Beatrix right now. Whether that one gets banned by Nightmare in the phase 2.
I'm looking at Hayabusa. Hayabusa has been like true.
Oh yeah, that too.
This could, I mean, the Hilda though.
Yeah, Hilda chose Suyo. Like, do we care about the Hayabusa? That's the thing.
Yeah, like Haya is such an amazing pick, but Hilda just shuts that down. I wonder if they want to take the risk. I really do. It looks like they are. They're like, you know what, Hilda Schmilda,
I mean,
we'll deal with it.
I hear Japanese voice line. It could either be Aurora or Hayabusa, but Aurora is not a male, so Hayabusa it is. But into his Cho and Hilda, this could get dicey. I say this.
That's the mindset, Husky. That's the confidence.
It is.
The other members of the team is like, are you sure he's going up against Hilda? And then he's just like, so what?
Hilda and Cho.
So what?
Oh boy. Well, I mean, there's only one point to find out. They banned Aloy again. I do like it.
I wonder if they want to ban out. I don't know. I kind of feel like most of the mid laners that Dianfeng Yao Guai can have, I feel like Nightmare can deal with it. I'm more thinking about Nightmare because whatever mid laner that they want, it needs to be so strong in the early game to the point where he can't pose a threat against a Hilda and a Cho.
So, sounds like Aurora or Vex.
Honestly, even Valentina is fine. Honestly, even Valentina is fine.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if they'll ban that out. I mean, they did ban the Tigro out.
So they're really thinking that this Gato Kacha is going EXP, which I can see that happening, even though looking at a lot of matches after the patch, a lot more teams are moving the Gato Kacha over to the roam.
I agree. But I feel like if you want to just man-to-man a Hilda, that Gato Kacha probably is a better choice compared to Khalid, which is still left open. I mean, Nightmare, they have some options for sure.
Right now, if they want to ban out another mid laner, probably something much more oppressive. They could ban out the Vexana and then pick up the Aurora for themselves, so there's not a lot of control mages left. Like, if you want to go control, you might have to really dig deep. Cyclops, I don't know.
With a Hayabusa around, I'm not that sure. They did ban the Farmers though, which is great against what Nightmare has. They have short burst damage, so if I eat it out with the Nether Realm, then there's really nothing much that Nightmare will have left.
Sand rises.
So they do ban the Khalid. It gives a great matchup to the Hilda, right? Now this Gut Thought might actually be forced to go XP.
I mean, here's the thing. You could even go back to old traditional, picking up the Terizla, because I feel like it's still a fine matchup here. Whoa.
Wait, do you just go Valentina if you're Dianfeng Yao Guai?
Doesn't matter, because if this is mid Angela, I'm not so sure, because there are games where I see mid Angela has a very strong early game. There are games where it's not really strong early game. This Angela pickup makes me a little bit more worried about the Hayabusa. This is a curveball. This is a wild card for me.
It's a double flex, right? Angela, Gato Kacha, both up in the air. I still think you could go for Beatrix still. Beatrix, yeah, I think Beatrix, you want to get an early advantage over Lunox. There's also Lunox, right? It's still available into Harith. Wow, they go for Moskov instead.
Well, the Moskov is very good at peeling. And this time they have the CC, so this Gatokacha is going roam, so this Angela is going mid. Gatokacha roam actually makes me feel a little bit comfortable with the Hayabusa, so it looks like when it comes to the mid lane, it's all about control. Damage, they have damage, but it's not the biggest amount of burst damage. They just have a lot of control here, Husky.
You want to talk about Snowball, I think Nightmare has drafted a composition that allows them to just not only create a snowball, but a avalanche if they get ahead. Harith, Angela, Hayabusa. My goodness, it's about to get incredibly messy in that first few minutes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, take a good look at this draft. So far, Denfan Yaguai has a very solid draft. Nightmare Esports, very strong, but it really does rely on their mid trio. As we're jumping in to the final game of match number 1, Denfan Yaguai going up against Nightmare. Whoever wins this one has a big advantage in their group as we're jumping into the Land of Dawn.
And this is the first time, probably the last time in the series where we see both teams switch sides. Denfang Yaoguai finds themselves on blue and Nightmare on that red side. Of course, again, parallel jungling, you know, Suyo on purple, Hayabusa on orange. I want to look at this early mid control though. Cho and Aurora wave clear is just insane.
Yep. Looks like Nightmare, they're going to stick close to their own jungle just to make sure if any funny business is going on. However, it does look like Opper is able to have eyes onto KLVJ. In terms of the trait, it looks pretty good for now. Opper should have an okay time going up against this Hilda, but now the Hilda is starting to rotate.
And that's a very early commitment. Now we flicker out for E1. Here comes the stun. Purify out for Soul Soul. Gonna chop him in half. Clap KLVJ with the cleave. First blood for Denfang Yaoguai.
Yeah, this is why I worry just a little bit with the draft coming in from Nightmare, because their mid duo is quite squishy. The Gatot is good.
Yeah.
It's just the Angela. The Angela for me is a curveball.
Talk about moving first, right? Without Khalid, Hilda is always going to move first. Taunt onto Zed. He is level 4. Quell the Evil, Revitalize. KLVJ escorts the Cell K out.
Yeah, right now looking at the goal lane as well, it does look like Cammy is having a better time going up against Long. However, with that being said, Long hasn't really traded a lot of HP, so it could just be manipulation of the wave that Cammy has advantage over Long, and Long doesn't care about being a little bit closer towards his herd. Yep, looks like Cammy's trying to freeze in the mid, but Long is not letting that happen.
Yeah. And to be very fair, even though if you have a big wave crashing, it's a Moskov, right? Like
Yeah.
his wave clear is pretty dang good, even in the early game.
Yeah, and so right now, Opper is level 4.
Wait, he hit
KLVJ,
4?
I think he took
mid-wave, right?
I
Yeah.
think he took mid-wave, yeah.
I think so too. It's going to be a bit of a problem. He can tie up PCU and the +1. So this might not be a good contest. Nightmare, they want that higher booster to his fall. Twisty for Lexi is only level, just hit level 4? Something must have happened. He got slowed down.
I mean, I don't know. I already said my piece, but now the fight around Turtle, Denfan Yaguai definitely has the advantage here. Looks like the Hayabusa doesn't even want to contest, which is, this is bad for Denfan Yaguai because they're taking the Turtle real slow, and this allows the Hayabusa to farm up a little bit faster. Denfan Yaguai, they were waiting for the Hayabusa to contest, but the Haya is just like, bro, what are you doing? I'm not even coming anywhere close to you.
But to be fair, if you are Denfang Yaoguai, you are happy with that result, right? Because Too Easy for Lexi is already slow on that level 4. So sure, you get the farm, but Zed is still 1 level ahead. So for him, it's feeling really comfortable. KLVJ is a sandbagging offer. Like, what can you do as a CC, honestly?
Nightmare has an option where they can start to snowball in the gold lead. The fact that the Angela can go inside of the Harif and then just force a fight, that's going to be very, very big. Are they going to do that, though? Because looking at the rotation, it looks like they want to do that.
Yeah, PC will spot this out. So he's going to take the brunt damage. Flickers brings Too Easy for Lexi to long fall out into stun up. Too Easy for Lexi. 200 IQ play right there from PCU. And they might just go for more. And then stun on the Cammy. Then Angela always going to run out. Cammy forced to hop onto the wall. And now Jasmine is alone. Here comes KLVJ to slice them in half. And Cammy is down. Jasmine misses the AOG. Denfang Yaoguai comes out on top.
Let me just say, if what they did on purpose, like if they did that on purpose, that's cool.
Dude, I would think that's a big brain play right there. That looks so cool. Holy cow.
Yeah, now PCU finds Opper. Opper looks like will be able to survive, which, by the way, he does have the war cry, so probably do a little bit more damage here. Nightmare Esports, they had an idea, the execution was just not there. Looks like the damage coming in from Cammy in the early game is okay, but probably okay against one person. Going up against 3-4 members, not going to be a good deal.
Oh, he did win that lane and forced the flicker from long, which is good. And I was about to say that you give that Moscow 2 assists in the early game and you take down the enemy Harif, that feels too much of a bonus. But at least the recall comes true, but once more Moscow cleared the wave, so there really isn't much extra pressure that Cammy can apply.
Nightmare, they got to figure out a way. They got to figure out how to slow down the game. Slow it enough to too easy for Lexi able to keep up, and then hopefully get some kills.
I mean, KelVJ, he's just cleaving this Angela in half. Jasmine uses Revitalize. AOG, he escapes. So this fight is already done. They find a kick on the Hayabusa. Even a ninja with shadows cannot escape that long. Try to man-fight Cammy, almost wins that, but Denfeng Yaoguai finds 3 kills. They found Jasmine too.
It's not a good feeling here. It's not. And right now, Opera as well almost got taken down, Husky.
Wow.
Look at this Hayabusa 0-2 and 1. He needs a better early game. He's not getting it. And then I gotta say, the mid duo right now, they're struggling, Husky. They're really struggling.
It always goes back to that conversation we always bring up when we see an Angela mid. You give a playmaker Angela, you're relying so much on their silence, but look at KelVJ. He's jumping in. Jasmine gets kicked away by P-Steel. KelVJ, Revitalize will expire, now being tied out. Too easy for Lexi will find a shutdown. Then from Yaoguai, overextended, but the freeze from E1 saves P-Steel. So Nightmare finds a trade.
Now let me just say, despite us talking about drive, let's talk about the goods here, right? Nightmare, they scale so well. Having an Angela on your side of the map makes it so that you are tanky as hell, even though you're built for damage. So both the CC, both the Harif as well, they can actually dive in and they can do a lot of work because the CC is more about consistent damage. It's not big bursts of damage, it's just like scaling a little bit with the yo-yo, getting that War X stack, and then eventually cleaning up house. And then the Hayabusa, once he's got his items as well, even going up against 5 men, his Ogi Shadow Kill is going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, bit of a problem for Cammy now that the tier 1 has gone down. The map shrinking for Nightmare Esports. To their credit, Denfeng Yaoguai isn't too far ahead, right? It's 2.2k, 2.4k goal lead, very, very manageable. But the problem is slowing that game down. We haven't really seen much of it from Nightmare. They punished KelVJ once because he overextended without Revitalize, but Lexi, where you gonna go? Ogi Shadow Kill. But where's the escape route? There's none. They bring Soso in, so Soso also goes down. Killing spree for Zed.
And right now, Denfeng Yaoguai, they had 2k, now they have 3k, and now they're staring down at all the neutral objectives. The map is theirs. They can do whatever they want at this point. Now Opera is 1v1ing against Zed, and honestly, Zed is winning that trade.
How do you run? Because Cammy doesn't want to be a part of that. He recall and Opera, you're on your own. Taste the X of KelVJ, the king comes to pay a visit. Now say the beast from the east, the true Chinese mythical creatures have been awakened, LaFell.
Dude, KelVJ, I don't think he's small K right now. He's big K.
Yeah, he's big K.
He's big K.
Big king.
Big king. Don't let go of this Hilda. This Hilda is doing work right now. 5-1 and 3, still having that Revitalize. So even if too easy for Lexi finds a good catch onto anyone, hey, all of a sudden the Hilda is gonna be there. Oh, it's a good thing he didn't get caught.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing for now. When is it getting help? I guess never, not even with the hard guard. You know, there's a Chinese saying that everything beneath the heaven belongs to you. In this case, it belongs to KelVJ. 天下独他为尊. This one, 小王子 has been awakened. You see, 巅峰妖怪. Now, 6.2k goal lead.
Yep.
How do you stop that, man?
First, I gotta translate that in my head, but for now, Nightmare, this is one of the weaknesses of a CC. The CC is an amazing hero, but the core weakness of a CC is that the wave clear. You don't clear the wave very fast, and now Cammy gets caught!
Let's purify out. Is he dashing forward to fight that? Are you insane? So Cammy is now gone. They take the top tier, 2 Revitalize from KelVJ, keeps everyone alive. Oppa also falls. And Denfeng Yaoguai knocking on the doors of Nightmare at 8.5 minutes in.
Yeah, and now PCU as well. Just be like, I'm here in your base. What are you gonna do about it? 7.4k gold ahead. Nightmare, again, like I said, figure out one way. Slow down the game. Slow it down enough so that Cammy can keep up. Lexi can keep up because 1-4 and 1 Hayabusa, there's not much that he can do. But with time, with items, I promise he can do something.
It feels...
And first 3 item picked up.
Wow, under 9 minutes. That timing for long. It all started with 1 bot lane fight. I mean, it's a lot more doable when Denfeng Yaoguai is only 2k ahead, but now they have quadrupled that lead. I don't know how Nightmare Esports is going to deal with this.
Oh yeah, right now Nightmare.
This is pre-Lord, by the way. All tier 2s have gone down pre-Lord.
Wow. That did not cross my mind, let me tell you that.
This is a 1 year gap between, like, you know, in between M5, right? So, wow, so much has changed.
Oh, so much has changed. This time the Chinese region are here. They stepped up and they are playing out of their minds, let me tell you that. And now it looks like they're gonna get a free Lord. Too easy for Lexi, he's just gonna get the free bottom tier, but again, they just need something. Anything that they can get, they'll be thankful for it.
Is this considered like an upset of some sort?
Not
Did you
to me.
come into this, you know, expecting Nightmare to come out the victors?
The things that I've heard from Dianfen Yaguai gave me hope to the point where I did not come in here with any expectations of saying either A or B is gonna win this matchup, because I heard good things and I like that my sources has not lied to me, Husky. Like, what they've told me looks legit.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I agree with that. And at the same time, it's good to have the opening series of the wildcards to be somewhat of a spectacle, right? It could be unexpected to a lot of people who might not have followed Dianfen Yaoguai's journey from XYG until now. But here we see, let's see the first Lord. PCO definitely fishing for something, but has to find that timing. If they can break even one inhibitor with this first Lord, it's already a big advantage, and they're on route to do that. Too easy for Lexi, just got BOD, but there's no way in. Look at the second one. Oh my god, Jasmine, he is so low. Long is doing what? PCO finds the kick onto Lexi of all people. I think Dianfen Yaoguai might have just done it. Jasmine goes in for the AOG, but the Revitalize, CalVJ doesn't even go down. You will not take Xiaoke down. Dianfen Yaoguai rises to the occasion. Game 1 of this first wildcard best of 3 goes over to the Chinese region.
With 11,000 gold lead here, Husky. Imagine that. Game number 2.
Wow.
They did it. They are here to show up. They are saying that they are one of the teams that can secure the final M6 ticket.
There's a chance, there's a glimmer of hope. We did say that coming into this international event, this M series, we've seen the Chinese region win games but not series. Well, Dianfen Yaoguai just changed that patient history, taking a series off of the opponents in an international game. What a showing.
Definitely not the last time that we're going to see Nightmare Esports. They have a lot more opportunities here, Husky, to actually win out in their group. But they got to look back into their games. They got to figure it out because, again, behind the scenes, we talked about it with players. The draft is so important. And this is what makes Wildcard amazing, man. People will come up with unconventional drafts, and it's all about can they execute it or not.
The Hilda, man.
The Hilda,
that Hilda was...
S tier.
How they do it there, right? And the brilliance in the drafting phase, they not only pick Hilda, we talk about them banning their own heroes, right? They banned Phoveus.
They banned the
They banned Eve. They banned the Khalid also, right? They realized that, okay, Khalid can move fast, but what if we ban it? Who can match the Hilda? No one. The Hilda is solo killing the Angela in that mid game.
Dude, let me tell you, if they had the Alpha, they had a chance because Alpha does true damage.
That too.
Hilda was used against heroes like the Hayabusa to make sure that he doesn't get his farm. And let me ask you, did he get his farm?
No, I mean, he
go.
picked the Hayabusa into a Hilda, right? That's also something that I think Nightmare Esports would look back at and kind of think to themselves, okay, we definitely had an idea, but the circumstances were just too hard.
No, like, we really got to look at the scale of how this ended up, because think about this. Dianfen Yaoguai going up against Nightmare Esports, at the end of the game, they had over 11,000 gold difference. That's a big difference. That's a big gap. That shows their draft executed amazingly in the early and mid game to the point where there's really nothing that Nightmare can do with the draft that they have. They don't even have a lot of wave clear to handle the push.
And this is like the fastest game so far in the wildcards because it's just the first series.
It's just the first series.
Just the first series, right? But it is a pretty fast game. It's like a pretty decent record that could hold on for quite a while. All altitude turrets down before the first Lord, and it ended with the first Lord.
Yeah, so right now, let's look at the itemization for both teams here. And, okay, I feel like for a lot of people that play the game religiously, they can start to see why it's difficult for the draft coming in from Nightmare. With having the Angela as the mid laner, it makes it so that your wave clear is a little bit slow, your rotation's a little bit slow, and you can control the opponents if they're staying in lane. the moment where they send multiple people to go inside of your jungle, you don't have a lot of ways to deal with them, especially against a Hilda. What are you really going to do against the Hilda?
Yeah, even when you look at the smallest of fights, right? Like Tianfeng Yaoguai in that early game, you just neglect the net worth difference because it is not even close. The way that these fights were set up, Nightmare Esports had an idea. We have an Hayabusa, we have an Angela, we need to play fast, right? Flash of the Oasis, fleeting time. First fight bot lane went horribly. The Hayabusa went down, and the thing is, he never recovered. And even before that, remember, Too Easy for Lexi didn't contest the turtle because he was far behind in XP. It's a culmination of just the early advantage that Tianfeng Yaoguai got.
Let me just say, look at this Hilda, man. 7-1 and 8. Rarely do you see your EXP laner being a part of the fight that much. 7, 8, 15. 15 out of the 16 kills is all on Kill VJ.
The only one he was not a part of was because he overextended and went down, but you know, it's forgivable. The fact that he shows up...
Wait, something different here. Pichu didn't have Thrill on his Cho.
It is tanky, right? It's firmness. Yeah. I soak up the damage, I do a setup. I want to match up with Gato Kashyap, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, and Long as well, having Thrill for the Moscow, where we usually see either the attack speed or the crit, so, you know.
That's too.
Something different as well.
I guess you can make up for it with your items anyways, but this time, look at objective takes. Just, 8-1 turrets. What can you really do?
Yeah.
It's a 12k gold lead in 11 minutes, Lavelle. That's more than 1,000 per minute.
And we can definitely see that Tianfeng Yaoguai is more biased towards one side of the map, because look at the orange buff and purple buff take. 8 purple buff for their side, and then only 4 for theirs. And a lot of the how do I say this? A lot of aura purple buff stole in here, so they understand that this Hayabusa without the purple buff, he really can't do much. You can take orange buff, whatever. Even they ignore their own orange buff. They just really want to make sure that they control the purple.
That, and also when you have a Hilda who is not just winning her lane, she's spilling her lead to other lanes, you can just tell your team, you know what, Hilda, come with us. We're going to help out our Moscow. Let's give Long the best game of his life. And the rest is history. I mean, Tianfeng Yaoguai, they just got all the fundamentals right. And maybe, you know, all the back-end scolding from Sasa has paid off. Who knows, right? And he can be quite a strict, but also very strategic person.
I mean, here's the thing. Whatever he said, it worked out, because we see a different Tianfeng Yaoguai here. And good thing, bad thing. Now everyone knows that DFYG is a team that you got to be careful of. So now they got a target on their back. Again, good thing, bad thing. But now we got to look at the MVP for this game. The Hilda is a good shot, but we'll see who is the final. It's KLVJ on this Hilda. Although I don't think you need to be an analyst to tell anyone, you know what, maybe don't let the Hilda through. Maybe ban it out.
Or maybe when you see the Hilda, don't pick Hayabusa into the Hilda. Maybe there's a Hayabusa and Angela into a Hilda. Maybe that could also be something, point of consideration, right? Just a food for thought. Wait, is it fair to say that this game really came down to kind of like the draft difference?
Yes. 100%.
Right, like game 1 and 2 was even, but this one, a very stark difference.
It's even to the point where I wouldn't mind if they pick up something like a Bane, even a Fredrin. Imagine a Fredrin back in the meta, right? Like that could possibly work out, because I saw a mile away that the moment Opper and KLVJ were skirmishing in their own lane, KLVJ wanted to get away. He's like, yo, minions are great, but you know what's also great? Going to the mid lane.
You know what's great? When I can keep bullying the Angela. Hey, you want to hard guard your Hayabusa? What if I just take you out before the hard guard? What if I constantly be a Bane to the enemy? And look, I mean, KLVJ, he's showing up on the bot side of the map, and he's not even worried about his own turret.
6 years of experience, man.
Yeah, 6 years of experience, and you give him something that is so oppressive. Oh man, look at this, doesn't even go down, right? Like, if he still survives, KLVJ, he's just running straight into their faces. Truly, Selke, truly the king.
I like to see as well that Lung is not just Bruno all the way. He can use a Moscow. But now, we got to look at the standings here. We're looking at Group A here, for folks, where Tianfeng Yaoguai has 1 point, Nightmare Esports has 0 point. So if Tianfeng Yaoguai is able to win more games, they're looking good. Nightmare Esports, if they lose one more game, Husky,
Oh.
just one more game, the chances of them making out of Group A is incredibly slim.
It might just go to virtually zero, right? Like
Yeah.
it's tough. Obviously, when you look at Group A, Ulhanar is still the team to beat. Now, Tianfeng Yaoguai with this showing, I think a lot of people will be looking forward to how they fare against the Turkish Fallen Kings. But for now, they get to celebrate this opening series. I think for the Chinese region as a whole, it's already a big plus.
Oh yeah. And this shows that they've really prepared.
They have.
Maybe Sasa and Lungan is going back to Malaysia. They got a buff.
I mean, Sasa did. He again, multi-tier region winner.
Something to say as well. They've been boot camping here for a while.
They have. Yeah, they actually have been.
So boot camping in Malaysia and then not traveling anywhere else after that. Good idea from them. The moment their qualifier ended, they went straight here and got all those scrims in. Really helped them out because their draft are looking good. Their gameplay is looking amazing. And the rotations, the timings is on point.
Especially when we are also a region that loves to fight.
Oh, yeah.
We have a meta that incentivizes fighting. You can't get any better than that. So, I think Tianfeng Yaoguai has really set the bar. I personally, looking back at that best of 3, I'm just thinking to myself, if this is a taste of what M6 has to bring, even from wildcards alone, oh boy, I think we got quite a journey ahead of us, FL.
Now I want to talk about the match coming up. It is going to be Legion Esports going up against Incilio. Incilio is also one of the teams where a lot of eyes are on them. They're one of the teams that can actually handle against Team Spirit. So again, Tianfeng Yaoguai, it might be a surprise to a lot of people. But this match as well, if Legion Esports can take down Incilio, it could also be a surprising factor where a lot of people are looking at Wildcard and be like, okay, you know what? RIP guest coins, because the teams, I love that they're showing up.
Yeah, I mean, again, hold on to your guest coins because it might get pretty ugly just in the wildcard stage alone. Remember, Legion Esports was the team that took down Nightmare in the MCCM, right?
Yes.
In the Mekong Challenge Cup, qualifying into this. So imagine if they take out Incilio, second seed from EECA. How crazy would that be?
Again, I look at a lot of predictions online, and a lot of people are talking a lot about Incilio, because Incilio is all about that control playstyle, especially when you compare it to Team Spirit, where they're a little bit more like the Asian teams where they really like to fight. So I really want to see how Legion Esports, being a very aggressive team themselves, will Incilio be having a better time or a rougher time against them? You guys can see here coming up next, it is going to be Legion Esports coming in from Vietnam going up against Incilio from EECA.
I think it's a good storyline for both, right? A full Vietnamese team taking out Incilio, or maybe Incilio's controls playstyle still has a place in its current meta. You compare to the Team Spirit who likes to go fast, Kid Bomba likes to start fights. Incilio, they want to take their time. They want to have the perfect, 100% win chance, and now you're seeing them up against Legion Esports, who also loves to play fast. It's the unstoppable force against the immovable object.
Yeah, we've seen so far in terms of how the meta has been shaping up, it is going as expected. Hilda is amazingly strong. A lot of the heroes, even though they got nerfed, still looking very strong. Suyo is still pickable. The Cho looks absolutely amazing. The Eve looks like it's going to be pick or ban because the control is good, but the damage as well. A control mage that does a lot of damage, something you got to keep into consideration.
I think the ban phase is going to be quite a challenge, right? Even still on red side, you still have to ban out certain heroes like Jusin and Chip. There's no escaping that.
Yeah, with that being said, hope you guys at home are ready because we're going for a short break. After this, it is going to be Legion Esports going up against Incilio. My name is Phil, this is Husky, and we'll catch you guys on the next match after this.
starts now.
Mobile Legend M6 スイスウォッチ Hello Panda, hello Panda, semua suka biskuitnya. Biskuitnya enak, isinya lezat, rasa coklat dan strawberry. Hello Panda, semua suka biskuitnya. Biskuitnya enak, isinya lezat, rasa coklat dan strawberry. Hello Panda, biskuit isi yang enak.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys missed it, we're going to have a quick recap here where we just finished the first game of the wild card here at M6, where Denfan Yaoguai was able to defeat Nightmare Esports, but it was not an easy match where he went all 3 games. First game went over to Denfan Yaoguai, and in the last game went to them as well. Nightmare Esports, it looked like they have to figure out something different for the other matches here at Wildcard. Welcome back, my name is Ophel, alongside with me as Husky, and now we're about to start the match between Legion Esports going up against Incilio.
It's going to be interesting because a lot of eyes are going to be on Legion Esports. Again, full Vietnamese team. We don't get to see that often on the international stage.
Yeah.
Last year they had an import, but this year they decided to go full on local. But Incilio, very different play style that feels like it has a very weird spot in this meta. I'm looking forward to see the different personalities clash.
Yeah, for sure. And we see a little bit about the meta here, but I feel like going up against Incilio, going up against Legion Esports, something that additionally you have to worry about is the Joy. Joy is one of those heroes that is amazing right now, Husky. We haven't seen it in the first match of the day, but the second match, we might see it because Joe loves those assassins. He knows how to play the Fenny well, and he knows how to play that Joy as well.
Which is an interesting point, right? Because it's one of those few heroes that has really slipped out of a lot of people's minds ever since the nerf that hit her multiple patches ago. They removed the crowd control immunity, they only gave a slow immunity, and it just doesn't feel good when you fall behind. But right now, the fact that you can hit your beats faster and you still do insane damage into the late game, I am excited to see if people will pick up that hero.
Oh yeah, for sure. The only hero that I see was able to actually handle that burst is a team that has a Florian, where apparently the Florian seal is strong enough to deal with the electrifying beats. But the thing is, the Florian needs 2 to 3 items, and sometimes the game doesn't drag that long.
Which is interesting because if Incilio wants to play a more controlled game, the Florian does feel like a pick that could go that route. I mean, compared it to a Estes or a Diggy, which kind of was a Sabo special from Team Spirit.
Yeah.
So I think that is something to look out for. I'm not sure how well it'll fit into this meta. But I think even for a team like Incilio, you don't want to go that slow.
Oh yeah, for sure. Legion Esports, they can play very, very fast. We're going to talk a little bit more about them when we have full visuals as well. But a lot of adjustments that Legion Esports has done for their own lineup to make sure that their lineup is as strong as possible. And now for you guys at home, discover the beating heart of Qiddiya City, the gaming and esports district, the world's first real-life gaming hub and a beacon of gaming culture. Again, thank you very much to Qiddiya Gaming for supporting Wildcard as well as M6. This game, Legion Esports, is all about moving fast. Maybe Incilio has adjusted. Maybe now they're a much faster team as well.
I think that's something that I personally am looking forward to, because all we've heard, or most of the things we heard about Incilio, is that they like to be controlled. They like to play it slow and methodical, but in a landscape that demands you to be fast, that demands you to be decisive. Either Incilio keeps up, or they figure out a formula to really stall things out.
Yeah, and again, we've seen teams trying out that Fredrin in the jungle, although I kind of feel like it's the last option. Where there's really nothing else, then we will probably start seeing those picks. But again, this is the wild card, folks. Anything can happen, but losing in wild cards here really makes it more and more difficult for any teams to get that final M6 ticket. Because let me just let you guys know, the only way if you lost one game for you to make it through the next round is that you hope everyone lose one game except for one person losing all 3 games. But now let's look at the standings here, just to solidify of what is the moving for wildcards. We saw in Group A, Tianfeng Yaoguai is at number 1 with 1 point. Nightmare Esports, 0 points after 1 game. And now we're looking at Group B. And it's Incilio going up against Legion Esports. Whoever wins this one will basically be in the same standing as Tianfeng Yaoguai.
Yeah, and I think the only difference would be the match win-losses, right? Either you get a 2-0, then that would put you in a slightly better standing. You also did point out at the start of the show that Group B feels harder to predict simply because we got RQ Akira, we got Legion, I mean, even Incilio is kind of part of the conversation, right? Even we talk about the downloaders, the Mongols are also in that group. It feels kind of like a toss-up overall. I would say for Legion Esports, if they can kind of show us that ferocity that they've shown us back in MCCM, there's a very good chance that we might see that 2-0 happening.
I mean, in Tianfeng Yaoguai, they changed a lot. So it comes to show that all the other teams, they can make changes as well. We saw that the Kaja pick worked really well. Perhaps our teams have very different picks as well. Maybe something like the Kadita, maybe something like the Farsa. In terms of the goal lane, we haven't seen the Clint so far, but Clint does feel good with the changes in his patch. He feels more fluid, so it's much easier for you to execute your skills.
Yeah, even one of our fellow colleagues, like Gideon, has tried out Malefic Gun on Clint, right? You give that extra range, and that kind of feels like a decent alternative, but I do want to see Clint as an answer to something like a Beatrix that likes to poke, maybe something like a Bruno that, you have some decent range from that mid to late game. maybe Legion Esports can bring that up.
No, I mean like even Natan is still good. We just haven't
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
it so far, right? We've seen Moscow, we've seen Bruno, we've seen Harif as well, Beatrix. But I feel like this is more on the player special. We haven't seen the Natan so far, but what we've seen previously, the Natan is great. Natan is very, very strong. But now let's talk about both these teams more in depth, or I would say more focused, where you're looking here, the relationships between all of the teams here in the M6 wildcard. We're looking at the overview, but now we want to focus in. We're going to look at one of the teams and really dissect what is the key difference here. We're going to look at Legion Esports first, where when looking at Legion, we got to talk about Joe, the Joe God.
Yep, the Joe God, the guy in the jungle, right? King of the jungle, some might call him. And he is going to be the main focus for Legion Esports coming into this. He's going to be the tip of the spear. But at the same time, we also got Nart and veteran since M4 with MDH Esports. The experience is also going to matter a lot.
You know what? Honestly has been through a lot.
Hey, the six hairs.
Sorry. He played as EXP, he played as gold, and now he's mid. He's one of those guys that is one of the last persons you ask last in rank, and he just has to adjust for your team. He
like,
reminds me a bit of Chiku.
that is true. I was about to say he's sort of collecting like the Infinity Stones, right? He has 3 out of the 5. He's like the Airbender, but in this case he's playing different roles.
Roll bender.
He's the Role Bender.
That sounds
Okay,
weird.
that doesn't sound as good.
No.
I'll stick with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah,
that sounds better.
Yeah. Stones are good.
Stones are good.
Don't get stones. If you want to go pee, go pee.
Okay, yes. Stay healthy.
Stay healthy.
Oof.
Now we gotta look at Incilio here. Yuzina as well as Don't. People are saying that they might be the dark horses because coming in from the EECA region, their region as a whole has demanded respect. Because so far, the way that they've played, it does look like they're able to catch up with a lot of the Southeast Asia teams.
Yeah, I think on top of that is also the M5 performance, right, by former Team Spirit, back then known as Deus Vote. They made it such a deep run, right, off the back of like Sabo, Carby, Kid Bomba, Magistor, Sunset Lover, like the 5 main players last year that not only took out teams from like Malaysia, but they've also give like Blacks International a run for their money. If anything, it has definitely skyrocketed the evolution of the EECA region, and I think that also brings anticipation to Incilio coming into this best of 3.
One of the key threats we saw just now was Stone, and one of the reasons why he's a key threat is drafting against him is very difficult. We see marksman in the goal lane, sure, that's great. Sometimes we see mages, great as well. He can also bring in fighters. And what's to say that he can't use assassins or tanks? So far, Doan's hero pool is something that drafters really have to be careful of, because you're guessing that, I'm picking this hero, he's probably going to counter with this, but then a wild card. He just brings in something else.
And that's what the literal definition of wild card, right? Like the ace in the hole of Don't. If he can bring out these surprises to constantly keep his opponents on their toes, maybe this is kind of the formula in this meta where it demands such a fast gameplay. Flexibility could make all the difference.
Hayabusa goal lead.
Throwback to M1. Throwback to 5 years ago.
For those, it wasn't actually M1. I think it was M3 or M4. Chico used it.
That's a 3 years ago.
M4.
M4.
For those that know, no. It's a Malaysian meme, but at the same time, I feel like this is one of those things that everywhere across the world we all enjoy. But hey, Hayabusa goal lead in my head, it works. It works. In my head, it works.
Like it feels like it should
work.
But I mean, looking at the landscape of Goal Lane, it's kind of like, man, it doesn't feel good if the Roma shows up, right? Like
Benedetta goal lead.
I feel like that one probably feels a bit better because the goal laners are ranged, right? Like as a Hayabusa, you walk up and you get like pummel. It doesn't feel good.
Now we're looking at breaking barriers with an all-local lineup. We were able to get a quote coming in from Joe. Hehe has experience. Yeah. Hehe has experience as a mid laner, so he stepped in to replace Shocker. Meanwhile, our substitute player, Meow, joined the main roster. This change has removed language barriers and improved our in-game communication. Let me just say, saying hehe into has, a bit of a tongue twister for me apparently.
Hehe has? It's okay.
It's like a different way to laugh.
It
Hehe ha.
Okay, now I'm just getting baited in. Though I would say that for Mel, he also has a very interesting background, right? He's always been the sixth player for quite some time with the team, right? He's been with them when they were on the world stage and in previous M series. Now being able to start in this lineup, this probably is going to be one of his most important, most crucial a tournament, I think, as a player.
I mean, this is what you tell to your sub players. You know, it's like, if you want to stay here, just win. No pressure.
I suppose that's what everyone
And Celio, one of the best in the world, just win. I mean, like, don't think about it. Just win.
You could say the same. I mean, FLG, you want to complete a golden run, just win, right?
Yeah, just win.
M6, not that hard. It's in Malaysia.
If you have the thought of losing in your head, you don't deserve to win.
Ah, yes. From one of our favorite animes, you know, they say that if you imagine yourself losing, you would never win.
Yep. Although if I'm going up against Kenpachi, I don't know how I would win too.
By having some really...
If that's a spoiler, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But it's been years now. You guys should keep up.
It's a good anime. Watch it. That's what I can say.
Yeah, watch it. 3 minutes in, we're about to jump into the draft here. We talked about the joy, but don't in terms of the hero pool. I feel like having something like availability of using the Lunox opens up the draft. Because if you have a gold laner that doesn't really depend on any ganks, it opens up so that your jungler can do the work. But now let's introduce Legion Esport, Daylight, Nard, Hehe, Joe, as well as Meow. I'm stopping at 2.
You're stopping at 2, but the better he performs, the more hey he gets.
Exactly,
right? You gotta earn that hey. I would say we say the key threats from Incilio is don't, but Daylight also put up quite a show during the MCCM finals where he had an amazing time as a gold laner. Again, this is all pre-current patch, right? So if that's what we kind of saw during the Mekong Challenge Cup, I think it's easily transferable to the current patch. But again, they're up against a very controlled Incilio. You know, we got Don't, we got Lovely, the Reaper, we got Justinian, and we got Maniac.
Yeah, Maniac as well. Something very interesting here where apparently he has 100% win rate on the Arlit in 6 games at MCC. So even the EXP later is something for us to look forward to.
Yeah, it is a higher skill cap hero to pull off, but good Arlit games always feel so magical, right? You get those seemingly impossible setup. That is an arsenal that I think Incilio can pull out of the pocket if they ever need it. That could be the advantage against Legion Esports.
I was talking about how Joe can use the joy as well. Huh, I just noticed if Joe uses joy, that's so close to his name.
Joe Joy.
Yeah, Joe Joy. But yeah, what I was saying, Justinian can use the joy as well. So looking at the hero pools, I feel like both teams have more similarities than differences. So they might have a lot of contest here.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the Julian, which is a choice for Justinian. He has also played kind of like Paquito and Benedetta as pocket picks. Like Paquito jungle, we saw it from him, but we also saw it from players like Mobile Zane, right, when they played the NACT finals.
Yep. Now we have a team focus here. The profile for Incilio, the MCC runner-up, was 2 games away from qualifying for the M6 stage. This wildcard will be their first international tournament. In terms of their playstyle, under Coach Gee, Incilio has been one of the most disciplined and macro-minded teams in EECA. Expect them to prioritize objectives, but, you know, aggressively.
Which is always, I think this always treads on a fine line. Like when you want to play aggressive macro, it kind of elevates how you approach the game, right? Because usually macro is all about we take it slow and patient, we kind of...
Denying the enemy team from farming.
Exactly, right? You control the variables, but how do you control it in a faster tempo? That's something that I think I'm looking forward to from Incilio.
I like the way that I think it is that when someone asks me to wait, and they say wait faster.
Yeah,
an aggressive macro is wait faster.
Wait faster, so you essentially wait lesser.
It's like the opponents, they want to get farms like wait, but wait very fast, because okay, you know, I'm losing steam. I'm jumping into draft now.
We'll give it some time, right? We'll give some time to kind of get that gas back up, because we're heading into the drafting phase of game 1 of the second best of 3 of the wildcards. We got Incilio up against Legion Esports. It's gonna be fun because I think coming into this, we got Incilio on blue side, Legion Esports on red, Eve, Fanny, Tucson, and Cho banned out.
Yeah, this is already showing what is the main priority for this wild card. Eve is really showing up as one of those heroes. Now we have to remind ourselves, Hilda is a threat. But what is Legion Esports gonna let through, right? If
They have to ban the chip.
I'm more afraid of Hilda.
So, I mean, yeah, it kind of it feels so.
Okay, never mind.
Now they can ban the chip.
Yeah, it's fine.
I was about to say it feels so restricting on the red side, but hey, if Hilda gets banned out by Incilio, then sure.
But isn't this showing your card where Incilio is basically saying they can't play the Hilda? Because they're first pick and they ban it out, or they just have something more pride. Maybe something like Matilda, Joy, I don't know, Khalid.
I wouldn't say that. I feel like banning out the hero doesn't necessarily mean you can't play it. It's just...
Or they want to assassinate.
Yeah, it's like priorities, right? I think it does shift. Again, on blue side, you just have a lot more freedom on deciding what goes through. So Chip goes through for the first time in forever.
Hey, relax. What are the chances they pick up Chip first pick? I don't think they're picking up Chip first pick.
Look, you gotta pick Chip first pick, right? Okay, okay, Khalid.
Yeah, Khalid is good. Heck, I'll take a high loss, you know? Nah, this is not a chip. Look at how long they're taking their time.
If they're taking more than 2 seconds to pick chip, it's not a chip. It is a chip, right? No.
Nah, see, I told you. I told you. Dude, even in ranked, people don't pick up chip anymore.
That is true.
Chip is strong though. Chip is strong.
It is strong. I mean, again, when we talk about ranked games, it's not really team-oriented, right? Like solo queue, chip works very differently, but we are talking about a well-oiled machine, a full squad of people who play around for so long. Are we really gonna see Chip make it through without getting picked? That would be history in M6 itself. That would be history.
Nah, let me just say, I've used the chip, and you know what it feels?
What?
It actually feels really good.
Wow, at least we know that Leader will not pick Chip.
Yeah. No, here's the thing. I'm being real with you, Husky. Chip is very strong. The damage is good. The gank is good. But come mid-game, you don't play front to back anymore. The chip is more used as a flanking tool because the chip gets bursted down so fast. Like the nerf on his armor measures his growth, it actually does hurt. It actually is a big game changer. So the chip is like a more offensive kind of roamer instead of a defensive one. And there you go, Matilda. So no chip.
Wow, Chip's gonna make it through the whole draft. Wow.
Yep. I told you, man. I told you. You gotta trust me, man. I play the game.
Of course I do. I'm just in disbelief.
Hi, disbelief. My name is LaFell.
Hi, LaFell.
Yeah.
We gotta savor this moment, though. Not sure how often we would see this. Matilda high loss, very decent front line, front to back. Plenty of utility. That means the gold laner has to be a very strong gold laner for Incilio.
I would say it needs a lot of DPS.
Nathan?
Nathan is a very good shout. Honestly, now that they have the Alpha, it doesn't have to be a DPS because Alpha can shred the front line. So because you have an Alpha in your team, honestly, you can go for anything. You can go for the Nathan, you can go for an Iritel. You have a lot of options.
Yeah. I'm not thinking about Incilio's mid laner. What is going to be the option, right? Because mid laners are going to start banning out. We've already lost 3 of them, you know, Loyi being the 3rd.
Something to handle the front lines. Look at this. Something that Incilio can pick up is a 1-1.
That too, in mid lane...
The 1-1 is good here against Alpha, against Gatot, against Khalid.
Experiment's good though, if we look at mid lane.
It's fine. It's just that the damage is a little bit slower.
Yeah, I want to say Lilia, but we haven't seen that in a long time.
Vexana is fine.
If Vexana goes through. I mean, Legion can still pick it, right? They have the first pick in the second phase.
Honestly, Vexana is fine. They banned out the Valentina. The Valentina is fine as well. But them banning out the Valentina does show that they're going to get a big ult from mid here. So yeah, I'm thinking about the Vexana here.
Vexana, Aurora.
Yeah.
So we talk about the Nathan for Incilio. That one gets banned out. So Legion came well prepared.
Legion, honestly, they have a lot of options here. They can pick up the Claw, they can pick up, maybe the Clint is not the best, but it's something that you can consider.
You probably pick the Clint more as a response than anything, right?
Wait,
wow. Wait, whoa, wow, okay.
I
thought they would be the one picking 1-1.
Yeah, so now Legion, they pick up the Bruno, a lot of range, so Incilio, they gotta fight with range as well. can flex to not be using a marksman, but I kind of feel like why not? There's a lot of front line here.
Yeah.
Honestly, Lunox is fine.
Lunox, Beatrix, if you want to go down to Clint, I think it's not too bad as well. Although I feel like Clint would suffer a bit more.
Flare, that's gonna light up
Let's see, probably the Beatrix makes the most sense. Yeah, there we go.
And then we're looking at the Vexana or the Aurora. Fits quite well in this kind of lineup.
Should be Aurora, right?
Yeah.
You got a lot more AoE control compared to Vexana that has a lot more reliance on the Eternal Guard. Yeah, so it's a trade for both teams.
Which honestly, both mages work really well in each composition. But right now in Celio, they're already showing the draft about playing the macro game. Having the Hylos, having the Matilda as well. There's a lot of sustain for the team of Incilio. For Legion, all about dive, all about having that instant, I would say, gratification of starting a fight.
Was it Matilda pick when we kind of draw reference from game 1 between Denfeng Yaogoi and Nightmare? Matilda, there are very jarring limitations of what she can do, right? But against this draft from Legion Esports, do you think the Matilda has some room to perform?
I feel like because they have the high loss, it's a little bit better. Because if somehow they get punished, this high loss is able to slow down everyone, slow them down fast enough, which is a weird thing to say, to the point where the Beatrix can start scaling up.
Well, we'll find out because this game 1 is going to be exciting. Game 1 between Legion Esports and Incilio kicking off right now as we head into the land of dawn. We got Incilio on the blue side, Legion Esports on red.
Yeah, right now I want to look at the early rotations here, and looks like the Khalid as well as the Gatakacha, they want some action inside the jungle. But so far, looking at the jungle here, they haven't... Okay, there you go.
There it is.
That's Nart going up against Justinian, and again, just slowing it down, and this is slowing down by quite a lot here, Husky.
Yeah, Matilda needs to come. The Matilda needs to provide some help instantly. Yep, finds the help. And while the early game is still going on, I gotta remind you guys that the M6 pass is available 18th of November until 29th of December. Plenty of free goodies, including a free new special skin for Baxia, the M6 Glory Avatar border, Baxia Battle emote, and of course the Claude M6 exclusive skin, spawn effect, throw effect, statue, and so much more.
Yeah, make sure you guys get it quick. And honestly, just to make it very simple, just keep playing the game.
Yeah, just keep playing.
Just keep playing the game.
Support your team also.
Support your team, and then you'll be good. You'll be all good. But now we're looking at the EXP lane here where Hehe and Joe go in against Maniac.
And revitalized in the time out right now. First blood for Joe.
Yeah. So right now, Legion Esports, it looks like they were able to slow down Justinian quite enough, and they actually capitalized on the advantage on going to the EXP lane. So Legion, they're the one that's actually playing this macro game very, very well.
If my eyes didn't deceive me, they did a lane swap also, right? They put Hehe in that bottom lane as the Vexana into the Hylos, so the Hylos can't clear the way properly. You can't really go onto the Vexana, and the Kali just deals with that mid lane as good as he would in any other lane. So I do like this adjustment. There's an attempted gank on the bot side, but Meow should be stunned up. Flickers, quick Sun Guard to heal back up.
Honestly, the way that Meow has been moving around the map, it does feel like Meow is just a secondary roamer. And so far, I feel like he's going to get his level 4 very, very soon. But in Celio, their mid-trio, they're moving quite well as a team. Gennard is taking quite a bit of damage. He has to be careful here.
Gonna be stunned up again. Eats the Spear of Alpha. True damage is deadly. Survives with a sliver of health. Justinian wants to steal the turtle. Cannot find it. So Legion Esports gets the objective. And they continue to put on the pressure in the jungle.
Incilio is actually playing this very, very well. Like, the way that they contested the turtle was in a way that they were going on multiple angles. If they get a kill, they get a kill. If they get the turtle, they get a turtle, but they don't overextend. So I really, like, for me, that was actually quite impressive. The way that they contested without sacrificing too much.
And with the Vexana showing up top, Hehe helps out Daylight, who actually took quite a trade just now, almost losing his life. The Legion Esports, they gonna get off to a very decent start, but adjustments from Incilio, right? We talk about macro, you want to keep Justinian safe, make sure that he has an advantage because he's 2 levels behind Joe.
We're talking about the speed of Legion Esports, and this is why they're fast. Their EXP laner instantly becomes their second roamer. Look at their jungler. Their jungler goes ahead onto the EXP lane, even though it's under 5 minutes, so there's a bit of a penalty there, which, you know, could be good, could be bad, but so far they're handling it quite well.
So Daylight got Hardcore in 3 minutes. That is insanely fast. He probably went for Hardcore components like at the very beginning, but still. Now you kind of negate what the Beatrix can do to you, right? You will never go down in a 1v1. not with the Atokacha always around you.
Again, look at that. Look at that trophy, man. Look at that trophy. Oh, it looks so good.
Man, I thought the Vexana was about to fly to top side for a second. But yeah, that plaque looks, the trophy looks incredible.
Now, I want to see how worth it is this, because look at this Husky. Again, Meow gets out of lane, giving solo goal over to Joe. The only reason why I'm a little bit unsure about this is because he's wearing the Retribution boots, and because of that, the first 5 minutes, you have a penalty. You don't absorb all of the benefits of the minion, so I don't know if it's really worth it or not.
He is still 2 levels ahead of Justinian. So I think
maybe
yeah,
it is worth it.
it is worth it, right? It's so worth it. Look at that purple side. It's completely blocked off. Like, whoever checks this bush, you gotta be ready. So Hylos will have to do the job. Meow is in such a nasty flank angle. Justinian will spot him out eventually. How's his turtle fight gonna be? Circling Eagle, 2-man knockup. Meow will just eat up the front line. There's no turtle contest. Unfortunately for Incilio, the Alpha though, ultimate in. Maniac pulled away, Raging Sandstorm to the back. Reaper has to retreat. And now Legion Esports piled onto Maniac. Glorious Pathway revitalized. Another guiding win to escort him out.
Again, in Silu, they're playing this very, very disciplined, but we talked about this before the match even started, Husky. Is this the kind of way you want to play against an aggressive team? And maybe we've actually uncovered Legion Esports' secret to moving fast. 3 minutes in, let your jungler grab your EXP lane so that he's unbelievably over farming your opponent's jungler.
Yeah, he is so comfortable right now. First item priority out for both the XP and the mid laners of Legion Esports. You see the Thunderbelt from Meow. Honestly, I mean, even if you are the Kali, you're not really missing out too much, right? Sure, you're sharing some resources, but the fact that you're securing a decent lead for a jungler, it's not that bad of a thing.
He's not losing levels as well. He's level 7 and Maniac is level 6.
Though I can agree with you with one thing when it comes to the whole is it worth it, is that not that far ahead. It's just 1,000, 1.3k. They got 2 turtles and a first blood. That's all.
Yeah, I guess we have to see what happens in the Lord stage where if Meow or Joe is really, how do I say, punished by doing this. But so far, everything looks pretty good. I'm just gonna check in terms of their gold. Is there any big difference here?
The winning prediction did say that for Legion Esports, they got a 66% chance of winning. No, we can't see this. I just happened to come across it on our big screen, but for now, and then Nibiru's passion just to wipe out the wave.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool, right? I didn't even notice that there's a win rate prediction live on set.
Yeah, let me just say, Husky, I just checked the item progression, and honestly, the Alpha grabbed his first item, the War Axe, the same time that Suyo grabbed his Counter-Strike. So in terms of item progression, in terms of gold, getting the gold, is really not that big of a difference. So in terms of the gold and the EXP, it looks actually quite good for the Alpha.
Wow, that's going to be a big burst on Daylight. Speaking about playing fast, they understood that, okay, we can't contest objective, but you know what we can do? We can take out Daylight.
Right now, Joe is absorbing the mid lane as well. So now Legion Esports, they got to figure out that they are quite vulnerable in certain lanes, especially when they're moving like this, giving everything over to Joe, which is very, very interesting, which I wonder if this is only possible with the Khalid, or they can do this with many different EXP laners as well.
Probably an explainer that can move fast, Tilda, Khalid, maybe CC, you know, someone that can rotate faster. I would say if, like, just to reference what you pointed out, if the first item timing is the same for both junglers, then the only leverage Joe has is levels. It doesn't really matter too much now that you think about it.
Now talk about Incilio, man, because now Justinian has his second item. Lovely, now having the Flash of the Oasis. So Incilio, they're grabbing their items. They're getting to the power spike where they can play as a team and they become nigh invincible because the defenses that Incilio has is a lot.
They are faster on the rotation. They already got the lane swap in. That's the Gatokacha out, Raging Sandstorm. Gatokacha still arrives. That's going to be the Raging Sandstorm committed. Flicker by Meow. He wants the backline, but he just ends up going down. Legion were not ready for that. Dude,
that team fight was beautiful. That kiting from Incilio is absolutely beautiful. But now Legion Esports, they take the advantage and they actually go to mid. Now Lovely doesn't look like Lovely is going to initiate onto anyone for now, but the way that Incilio is moving around the map, I would just have to say, is very, very impressive. They understand the macro mechanics of a team fight. The way that they kite, the way that they engage, looks super systematic.
they do need to start thinking about how to take structures, right? Because Legion Esports, they're still trading structures on the map. All tier 1s of Incilio are down. It does open up the map a bit more for Incilio to start taking control of that deep portion of the jungle. Unless if they can take out Joe, it would be a big boost. Circling Eagle.
Oh.
They instantly call up the commitment. Maniac even dropped the floor's pathway by realizing there's no way in.
Yeah, I feel like because they saw Meow there where they said it's not a good time.
Yeah.
Especially because the Lord is coming up.
I like that patience, but they gotta wait for the Glorious Pathway to come off cooldown. So it is going to take some time. That means Legion Esports can easily set up for the Lord with Joe still having a level advantage and all the lanes shoved in.
Looking at the win rate prediction as well here, it looks like 53% for Legion Esports. And they're going on to the Lord. Oh, flickering.
There's gonna be a flicker freeze to the back line. The Lord is incredibly low. They do take out Meow though. The retribution comes through. Lord for Legion. Incilio finds 2. They sure are looking for more against the Blazers. Joe stunned up, but unfortunately the control is dead. Justinian falls. Legion Esports walks away with the objective.
Yeah, because Lovely used the guiding winds and Justinian was able to get it, and that's how they can actually get close enough to really start a fight. The thing is, Dawn was far away, so your main damage dealer was not really there. Even though looking at the itemization here, Justinian does have 2 damage items, but apparently it was not enough. So a bit of a mistake coming in from Incilio, where they have been playing basically perfect throughout the game.
There is always going to be this minor downside to a team that wants to play slow, is that if the enemy team is fast at their movements, they're always going to get objective, right? But Joe is going to go down. The Raging Sandstorm does miss, so Incilio able to take out the jungler means that the setup is partially gone. Now that there's no Raging Sandstorm, can more comfortably deal with the Lord on his bottom end. Daylight will try to do as much damage as he can to the structures, but the Banner's Rage committed. Lord goes down. Incilio really didn't lose too much, LaFell.
Yeah, they definitely didn't. Because again, the way that they're moving around the map, they can predict where Legion Esports is going to be, and they're able to defend every angle. Legion Esports as well, I would say, if they were able to control the minion waves a little bit better, making sure that the timing of how it crashes onto the turrets, make it so that Legion Esports was able to push Incilio away, then that would have been good. Because Legion Esports, they only have 2 kills so far in the game, and in lead, they don't really have that much of a lead.
Look at the Banner's Race, gonna split Nart and Hehe away from their team, and Incilio just instantly retreat. So that's the pressure that we're seeing, and just as a minor detail, right? We talk about how Legion Esports were never really too far ahead. After that whole ordeal of taking the Lord and not being able to find a lead and losing Joe, look at that level of difference. It's not even 1,000.
I like that, the fact that Incilio, they're moving as like 3 members, 4 members, but everyone doesn't look like they're really down in gold, right? It looks like Don't has enough, Reaper has enough, Justinian has enough. So even if they're moving as a team, they're not punished anywhere in terms of grabbing the gold. So I really like that they understand the movement of the Land of Dawn.
Look at that. It's a net negative.
Yeah, net negative gold earned.
That's all because they caught Joe. And also, Meow didn't have Raging Sandstorm. They couldn't get anything off of that.
And no turrets were taken.
Exactly. And wow.
Well, I think they got me. But other than that, I think.
Yeah, but that one was like way before Lord, you know?
But either way, it's right now, Legion Esports, it's surprising how they had a lead, but they didn't really go for fights, considering that, again, they're the faster team. And to be fair, it's the Matilda. The Matilda really makes it so that any engage looks bad.
It is a callback to the earlier question of, was it worth it, right? I think Joe has completely, or unfortunately, forfeited whatever minuscule of lead that he has. Now we are back to square one, and I even dare say that Incilio finally feels comfortable enough to consider taking a fight against Legion, because they have not been able to get those big engages in. Like, you're looking at Khalid and Gathot, they have not been landing it.
Yeah, they're playing around this Matilda expert. Like, I can see the Matilda getting banned out for the next game, because so far Lovely has been on point. 0-0-5, 100% kill participation for Lovely on this Matilda, and that's the kills. How many saves has this Matilda had?
Plenty.
Yeah.
Can't count it right now. I mean, Daylight is still aggroing the Lord, so Lord is at max that passive. Gonna have that true damage soon. trying to bait Incilio into a fight, and now they're going to full commit to it. Glorious Pathway is out. Vexana steals the Lord, or secures it for the team. They do take out Justinian, unfortunately, even for Reaper. Tries to flicker, hits the wall, double kill for Daylight. And now with the Winds of Nature, he is just going forward, and Legion have finally cracked the code.
Yeah, Legion. Too late, and Hehe was able to secure the Lord. If he wasn't able to secure the Lord, maybe it would have been a different story.
Yeah. Even Justinian didn't even get to use his retribution, right? I think he got terrified. As we look at the instant replay presented by Kidia, this is a very crucial moment because when they used it to run down a lot, Lovely wasn't in position.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at here. And yeah, it does look like Justinian was caught there. And the damage from Daylight, that was the difference maker. Daylight was able to take them down just so fast. The burst damage coming in from this Bruno, the crits are starting to hurt.
You clump up together, you're going to eat that Wordy in the face over and over again. Not to mention the armor reduction. Can they at least keep the inhibitor alive? They're going to use everything from the arsenal, Banner's Rage, Nibiru's Cashin. Joe even commits the ultimate, ends up going down, killing spree for Don't. Good Law and Order stun. Meow also falls, but for Incilio, they do lose an inhibitor.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if it's worth it for Legion Esports to sacrifice two members of the team, especially because it looks like it wasn't all that necessary. I kind of feel like they would have gotten it anyways, but looking at the damage ranking, Don't is doing so much damage, Reaper as well.
He's having a perfect game so far.
I'm surprised that Daylight hasn't dealt that much damage. Not gonna lie, I thought he'd be doing at least 30k by now.
Well, he hasn't been able to involve himself in any fights until that Lord fight, right? It's going to be Eternal Guard committed. They just want to clear the wave. Incilio, they want more than just that, but unfortunately, no wave means no turret.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that was a little bit over.
And they forced it too hard.
Yeah, they forced it too hard because Legion Esports didn't have any intention to fight. They just cleared the wave. I even saw Reaper trying to freeze the turret to potentially push it, but yeah, they weren't able to look at that minion. So that was a bit of a mistake from their end.
Be a bit more patient. I mean, I guess the thing about playing a team or a team that plays slow and very macro focused is that you have to always remain patient, right?
Yeah.
Like, gotta always be composed.
Looking at the differences here, it's interesting to see both Bruno and Beatrix have the same amount of gold, but Beatrix has not completed her items just yet. This just shows why Bruno is so strong in the early game because he completes his items so fast. The crit items are very cheap in this game.
I think Don't just bought the Hunter's Pride. I think that's the final item.
Yep,
Yeah.
final item.
So basically decked out. I mean, considering he's 3-0-4, right? It did take him a while. Expensive items, but cashing it in 16 minutes into the game. Third Lord coming up. See, they did set up the top wave a bit. Not sure if it's a slow push or not. Or it could just be a neutral lane. A slow push would be great though. Let's see though, this Lord fight is important.
Yeah, honestly, looking at the minions up top, right now it looks it's Incilio favored, but I feel like Legion Esports, because they have the inhibitor, they will eventually win out on that trade. So Legion, they can just wait and then let that minion wave build up and then start pushing in. Because look at that wave right now. Legion's wave is winning just because the inhibitor of Incilio is down.
Yeah, I kind of felt like Incilio should have cleared the full wave instead of leaving it. Now they are kind of racing against the clock, and Legion Esports understands that. Aggro now goes over to Incilio. They're trying to push forward a little bit, looking for Hehe. That's going to be the flicker out. They turn around, Purify use, but unfortunately Lively goes down. It's going to be Immortality out. They take care of Mel. It's going to be 1-for-1 trade thus far. Legion Esports looking to push the envelope a little bit, but zoned out by the Nibiru's Passion. So end of the day, 1-for-1.
Yeah, I feel like Legion Esports doesn't have to be that aggressive. Look at that top wave. It's pushing in well, and Joe was able to control the bottom wave as well. So right now, Legion Esports, in terms of the waves, it's looking very good. They can actually force this floor, but never mind.
Oh!
Never mind.
Don't!
Why?
What?
Why?
You know what?
Why?
Scratch that. I am very surprised that they decided to fight that, although this wave thankfully was dealt with. I'm surprised that Legion decided to do that, right? Like,
Why did Nart move that far ahead? And why are they starting to Lord again with less members? They can get punished. Legion can definitely get punished here.
Don't have full items, man. That one runners. This turns everything around, and now, I mean, look at that Meow. Oh, another Renner's Apathy. I don't think he can contest the Lord.
Yeah,
Daylight, he's forced away.
Yeah, Daylight really has to look at his health, man, because it's really
Oh my
low.
goodness.
He can heal up. Don't get me wrong, he can heal up, but I don't know. I kind of feel like Legion Esports showing a little bit of disrespect, or they're really just thinking they're much tankier than they are. They have to realize that Incielo is basically decked out. They all have all the items that they need to deal the damage.
Yeah, you look at the instant replay brought to you by Kidia. This is such a weird engagement, right? Weird interaction. And that was sort of a mistake. Like Daylight could have blocked that shot, so he left his mid laner out to dry.
Hey, he has the same mentality as you. Everyone for themselves.
Exactly. That's how it is. I'm a gold laner. I can't be eating shots like that.
Yeah, of course, of course.
So that's not hair at all.
Yeah, but now in Celio, they have the advantage here, Husky. Legion Esports, in terms of wave clear, they're actually quite decent. Oh, but it looks like Lovely wants to go in. Lovely takes a lot of damage.
It's going to be 4v5 though, but there's going to be a top side push as well. So this inhibitor survives. And thankfully for Legion Esports, they clear the bottom side. So end of the day, Legion Esports, they're not going to lose any inhibitors. So not much of an equalizer for Incielo, but gold-wise, they are up almost 4k. 90 minutes in, it's not going to matter too much except for item swaps. We see that for Joe. Going to go into the Immortality after Winter Crown.
Let me just tell you, Husky, the way that Incielo plays is like, their engage is just poking.
Oh, yeah.
They engage to poke and then go back. Engage to poke and then go back. Like, the way that they do it is really touch and go. It's like, I come in, I see what I can do, and then I back off. I never fully commit.
It's like, tag, you're it, you know? It's like, it's like poking at Legion, but without the recall spams.
It's really taking a stick and poking a bear and then moving back as fast as you can.
Ah, I know the perfect reference.
All right.
It's like Tom and Jerry, and Tom is just poking at Spike when Spike is chained up, right? He's just out of range.
Yeah. So far, Incielo is willing to use all the skills available, and maybe this is a Matilda thing. Maybe without the Matilda, they can't really do this kind of playstyle, but it does look like Incielo, they're trying to force mistakes from Legion.
Yeah.
Faking those engages, hoping for Legion to overcommit, and then immediately kite back and then fight. Like, we're starting to see a pattern from Incielo here. The way that they force mistakes is honestly an amazing thing to watch.
And you can clearly see signs of Legion Esports getting slightly impatient, right? Like that,
Yeah.
Lord dance just now, the second part of the Lord dance was a very clear example. Although now you gotta wait for the third Lord. We'll see what adjustments Legion brings to the table. I would assume that Daylight probably sold his boots at this point.
Yeah, and look at Incielo, they really don't care playing this
Look at
long.
that.
They have the stamina, man.
That's so fast, and the guiding wind, that's always a 5-star e-hailing ride. You don't get any service better than that.
Right now, looking at the map, Incielo is covering this Lord perfectly. And we know Legion Esports, both Meow as well as Nart, is trying to find Don't. But Don't so far, his positioning, man, is so hard to catch this guy.
Legion Esports, they do get aggro off the Lord, so Incielo will force the reset. They don't want the Lord to be held hostage by Legion, at least not for now. So Legion's going to be waiting for the top wave again.
Yeah.
Maybe rinse and repeat.
And again, the top wave is winning. Incielo, so far, it doesn't look like they want to be the one making the decision to go. They're waiting for Legion.
But I feel like they have to, right? Like that top wave isn't going to last long. So that's Glorious pathway out already. They get nothing out of it. Someone has to take care of the base. Reaper will have to recall.
Yeah, and Reaper not being in a fight is big because you need your mage for the AoE CC. And now Legion Esports, they're on the Lord again. And another wave is coming in from Legion. This is bad for Incielo.
Yeah, they gotta run it down. They can't even get Justini into the fight, so Legion Esports just winning out based off of that top side macro. The fact that they had an inhibitor, you asked earlier on, was it worth it throwing 2 lives for the structure? It is paying off.
Oh yeah, paying off dividends. And Incielo so far, their indecisiveness, or I would say their whole strategy of making your opponents make the first move hasn't been doing well because Legion, they did the same thing. They waited for that high loss to engage and then they just backed off. They're just like, oh, thanks for using your all. I guess we're all good. The top wave is pushing in. We see no Aurora. We can move forward.
I suppose there's such things as too patient. We see, I mean, I agree. I'm looking at Incielo to be the one to make the first move. They have the tools to do so. But if this Lord goes down without a single inhib take, it doesn't feel too bad for Incilio. And that feels like it's going to be the case. This mid wave is going to go down for sure. Glorious Pathway forcing out a flicker from He. And we're back to square one. Longest game so far in the wildcard, 23 minutes and counting.
Dude, Incilio is so good at defending. They're so good at turtling in. Even without this whole base situation, so far every single team fight, they make sure that they get out on top. I mean, look at the kills, Huskies. 10 to 5. It's 10 to 5, full items, and yet Incilio is playing this like it's the mid game.
The fact that Legion Esports had to throw 2 bodies for an inhibitor just to come back to the start of the state of the game really just shows you that Incilio has gotten it down to the T. I guess the lucky thing is that all previous Lords, at least the previous 2 Lords, have been spawning bottom side. The upcoming one is also bottom side.
Okay, what kind of RNG is this?
I'm telling you, that is the only thing keeping Legion Esports, you know, like breathing a sigh of relief, like, oh, thank goodness, we don't have to deal with the top side. Anything that spawns top side, it's gonna be a different story.
If I was Incilio, I'll be trying to force one inhibitor here. I mean, like, looking at the bottom, it's very, very low. Like, at least one inhibitor for one inhibitor. You don't make Legion Esports win every single time the Lord Dance comes out, right? I feel like they have to figure something out, because if not, they really need to get someone up there and deal with 2 minion waves so that they feel, you know, breathable.
It is a job for Justinian and Justinian alone. And that's the thing. I mean, at this stage of the game, you're dealing with the buffed up minions. They are incredibly durable.
Oh yeah, for sure. Which is funny, because when you consider you have full items, you'd think you would one-shot everything. No, not the minions.
No, the minions beat you.
the minions have 6 Sky Guardian helmets.
I think the timing for him to kind of split that map has already passed, for sure.
Yeah.
Now you just feel the pressure of, oh my goodness, this minion wave is so hard to take down. But on the flip side, if he did set up a double wave somehow, then it benefits Incilio a lot more, right? Because it takes so long to die.
Yeah, but we can see here. Look at Daylight. Daylight is going to deal with that single minion, and the push is just gonna start all over again. Yeah. Legion Esports so far. Oh, yeah, goes in.
I'm thinking of that. I think you gotta do it fast. Do it fast, or at least force Legion into an uncomfortable spot. So Maniac, he's gonna throw his body for this for sure. Look at that. Losing most of his health. Unfortunately, they just don't have the resources. They put themselves in an awkward position. No Glorious Pathway. Legion Esports gets possession of the Lord again. Justinian gotta do something. Reaper flickers in, finds the freeze, and the Lord! Are you kidding me?
What?
It's such a crucial moment. Reaper is the death dealer, and Legion Esports loses Joe, and Incilio have found that moment.
What was that Reaper? Oh my God, talk about an MVP play. He even sold his Winter Crown for immortality to make sure that he stays on the map. Reaper, that was game changing.
And it potentially game ending. When you look at the irony of the name, definitely Reaper. They're reaping the rewards of that play, and now Incilio is not about full steam ahead. You got more than half a minute on He, 40 seconds on Joe, almost a minute for Meow to come back. Time to run down those lanes, get that top inhibitor, stabilize the state of the lane, and more.
Yeah, but right now it looks like they want mid. Maybe they're gonna try to end this now, Husky. It's 26 minutes. This is a full item Beatrix. They want to force this. They want mid. They want to end the game right now.
Gonna demolish that mid turret. There's a very good chance, Nard, with the taunt, not enough. Another Glorious Pathway, this one setting them up for success. Incilio weathers the storm and takes game 1.
Incilio so far with their macro gameplay, they're disciplined, they're able to win game number 1. But let me tell you folks, it was not an easy game.
Sometimes it just takes one moment, and who would have thought it was an Aurora flicker and using an entire spell rotation to get an objective. That must be pretty crushing if you're a Legion, right? You got all the RNG on your side, and still Incilio outdid them.
Let me just say, I mean, like, there was a lot of amazing plays. The Matilda from Mlbb was amazing, but in terms of game-changing, that Aurora, man. I mean, like, Reaper played Aurora well, but stealing the Lord from this extended fight was the key to finally end the game. Because we can see in the eyes of Incilio and Legion, they're like, how are we supposed to end this?
Yeah, even for Incilio, they finally understood that, okay, we gotta make the first move, but because it was so late into the game, there's no way to rush down the Lord, right? They came into that Lord contest with a disadvantage. No glorious pathway, and a dream, and so far Joe has been winning all the red tree fights. Guess what? It was a mid laner that secured it for the team. So, wow, props to Reaper. Incilio put up a damn good fight.
I gotta say, we're gonna look at the drafts coming in from both teams, and I kind of feel like it's fine. I just see that both teams, their playstyle definitely has holes in them, where I feel like other experienced teams is able to exploit. Where in Celio, they're playing a little bit too disciplined to the point where you can just force things out and then actually push them away from their objectives and then get the objectives for free. Where Legion, they had a good standing in the game, but they didn't use it to their advantage.
Yeah, it is, again, right, we kind of brought up the question of the unstoppable force against the immovable object, and in this case, I guess the immovable object was able to withstand the blows from Legion. I think the craziest thing is that the kill count of this game.
It's not that high.
It's only 5 for Legion in almost 27 minutes. It really shows you how drawn out the game is.
And how Legion... Okay, I'm going to put this on both teams. Legion could not find an advantage to actually get any kind of wins in terms of kills. Lovely, on the other hand, is the reason why no one died.
Yeah, I agree. I think it also came down to that very awkward Lord dance where Legion kind of lost their jungler in the first push. They threw 2 bodies in the first Lord. They got an inhibitor, and afterwards at the Lord dance they started losing members. The first Lord that ended with a negative net gain for Legion, what was kind of like the thorn in the side for them as well. They wanted to push the envelope, they just didn't have the resources to do so.
Call me crazy if you want, but you gotta ban out this Matilda, man. Lovely is too good on this Matilda because we see that Legion, they have the resources to actually get kills, but every single time, all these false engages. The Hylos as well, the Hylos Matilda combo is more impressive in Celio than any other combo because they have a lot of false fights where it looks like they want something, but it's just like, no, we just want to force you guys to use your skills, and many a times they actually do.
Yeah, and we see a lot of these fights, or a lot of these seemingly fights about to happen, all happen at choke points, right? Lord fights, jungle. In Celio, they just don't, they understood which location is the best for them to really utilize the team common. That kind of was a thorn in Legion's side, because if I'm a Bruno, I don't want to be in that fight.
Right now, if you're looking at this, look at this is weird. Legion has all 3 Lords. Legion has 3 Lords compared to 2 for Celio, although to be fair, the last Lord, that was very, very important. And in terms of towers, 8 to 7. Legion had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
They just couldn't figure out how to take down Celio. They don't have enough damage, which is weird. Like, you know why it's weird?
Mm-hmm.
They have 1, 2, 3, 4 different ways that they can start the fight, right?
Yeah.
Even the Vexana, flicker, first skill, all that's a way to start the fight.
To be very honest, the entire game, I've been wondering, will not ever use AOG to start a fight, to split the battle line, right? To isolate key members of Incilio, but we say the Incilio turtle a lot. Legion also did the same with this Gatokacha.
Yeah, look at his goal difference, man. 16 minutes. 16 minutes of the game, Legion had goal advantage. The problem is they really didn't utilize it that well. They were able to get neutral objectives with the turtle and the objectives and everything like that, but they weren't able to win any kind of team fight. And the question really is Incilio that good at avoiding team fights, or is it really the Hylos and Matilda combo?
I feel like it's something that complement each other, right? Hylos and Matilda, great combo, which allow Incilio to avoid all these fights that Legion were kind of fishing for, but also because Legion, I kind of feel like they could have been a lot more proactive with certain abilities like the Gatot Ultimate, the Khalid Raging Sandstorm, but maybe based on that early, like first 10 minutes where these team fights didn't turn out well for the Khalid, they decided to change the approach to a safer, more passive way of playing the game, and it just plays right into Incilio's hand, even though they were given the RNG advantage.
Yeah, you know what? That RNG, man.
I'm telling you, 3 back-to-back lords on the bot side. You
Dude,
could,
if that was me, I'm like, are you serious? I would ask for a pause. Are you serious?
are you kidding me? Like,
Come on, man.
we gotta do this all over again. Hey, if the game doesn't want you to win, you gotta create your own window of winning.
Legion had so much advantage on that game, and they still couldn't do it. They need to adjust for game number 2. We're gonna look at the game MVP here, and it's Reaper. And in terms of highlights, he has amazing highlights, but that one play on board, that's game winning.
You would never expect an Aurora to do that. Not at such a crucial moment, right? Like if that play came with any other outcome, they lose the Lord, that game ends right then and there, I think.
Yeah, if Legion got their Lord, maybe they could finally end it.
It's a Hail Mary attempt. It paid off, right? To toss the coin, and then they got hits.
For you to win, you got to take chances.
Yeah, they decided to do it, right? Took them long enough.
Yeah.
We've been asking, man, are you going to make that move? But hey, Reaper decided to take matters into his own hands.
Yeah, looking at the highlights here, look at Reaper. He's the kind of guy that will not hesitate to flicker forward and start something, where he hasn't been really doing that a lot. And the engage here, Legion died because of the Aurora ult.
We did also compare both the Vexana and the Aurora, where the Aurora you just give a lot more of these AoE controls, right? Like it feels a lot more comfortable dealing with this tight space, and I do like the fact that Incilio is utilizing it to the max.
Yeah, and
yeah, this one was the weird one. Look at that.
yeah, I don't know why Legion Esports was moving that way. Oh, hold on. Oh!
It was the hailstorm.
No. It's 2 things. Joe made a mistake as well.
He retreat early, right?
He retreat early, so he wasn't even frozen, and that's why he couldn't retreat. He did retreat, he just retreat early.
In these
small,
tight moments,
tiny.
wow, you feel the nerve. That nerve really got to Joe.
I can't even.
You can't even fault him for it.
I can't even fault him. It's not his fault.
It's unlucky.
It's a very scrambled fight. It was just like, God, I'm gonna press retreat. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't.
It's either I press retreat first or I risk
Dying,
and then I don't get it anyways, right? Very unfortunate.
Game number two. I really feel like it's on Legion to make adjustment. Because I feel like Incilio, they came into this game prepared. They look amazing. They know what they wanted. And you know what I want?
What is it?
I want Hello Panda. Fuel your game with Hello Panda. Crunchy biscuits filled with creamy chocolate, the ultimate snack to keep you energized. Level up your day. Visit Hello Panda's website for more. And in fact, during the breaks, listen to the Hello Panda song.
Yeah, I'm learning it.
Hello Panda.
Hello Panda, hello Panda.
Creamy biscuit or something like that.
Something strawberry, right?
Something
we'll
strawberry.
Figure
We'll figure it out. You'll figure it out, okay? Give us time.
Give us some time. Maybe
First
by
day.
tomorrow I'll remember it.
Yeah. I'm looking at the BM desk and they're also promoting.
Oh man. Of course, we again gotta remind you guys that the M6 Pass is now live. You can participate in the M6 Lucky Gift. So many things to get.
From 18 November all the way to the 29th of December, participate in the Lucky Gift. Join the draw for a chance to win Claude's new Epic skin, Challenges Flare, and Beatrix's new M4 Epic Painted skin, Light Seeker. Don't miss this rare opportunity to get Beatrix M4 exclusive M4 Prime skin returned for a limited time. And if you guys are participating in an M6 Pass, this bad boy right here, I don't even dare touch it. I'll just point at it.
Yeah, it's so sacred. We have sponge underneath it just to make sure that it is in the most solid position ever. I want to collect this. I missed out on the Yuzon one last year and I have a lot of regrets, but this one, I have to get it.
Regrets are a bad thing.
Yeah, it is.
It's like regretting where you can start a fight but you don't, and when you start a fight you die.
Oh, come on. They're already dead. Stop beating the dead horse, Lafel.
Ban Matilda, no?
Yeah, I think so too. Like, it goes back to what you brought up, right? Was Matilda the biggest problem? Is Matilda the reason that they have such a versatile enabler, or is it just Legion's esports reluctance to take the fight?
Oh, it looks like we have a chat here with Daylight. What do you think about this new patch? And Daylight said, assassins are still meta in this patch, so they still need to be nerfed. Personally, I hate assassins, but I like the Malefic gun though, because it adds range to my marksman hero. So Daylight, he's just like, I don't like things that make me not have fun. You guys might like it, but I don't.
I think that's basically
Nerf them.
all marksmen and mages.
All marksmen,
right?
exactly.
No one in their right mind that plays those two roles like assassins.
Yeah. There's no Vexana player that's like, oh, I think Hayabusa should get buffed.
Oh yeah, I love playing with Hayabusa.
I've never heard a Vexana says, you know what, I think Hayabusa needs a buff.
I've never heard a Vexana player say, I'll take my chances landing the fear before he Ogi shadow kills. No one does that.
No one does that. No one does that. And now we're about to jump into the drafting phase. Can Encilio do it again? Can they win 2-0? Or will Legion Esports just show that today it's all going to be a 3-game series? And now Legion Esports is going to be the first pick, Encilio's second pick. It looks like Legion, they ban out the Cho. Coach Gee bans out the Jushin.
So they do end up going for the Gatot ban this time, even though they did pick it in the previous game. Get the Fanny ban out by the side of Encilio. It's fair to say that, you know, with Chip not being in the equation as much, at least Red side gets a bit more of a breathing room in terms of the bans that they could opt for. But still, with how Game 1 went, I feel like if you are Legion Esports, you are losing out on the mobility, right? That's why they banned the Matilda. So actually three crucial roamer bans by Legion.
Fight for the ultimate answer.
And you know, like we said, the Matilda needs to go. Hilda is banned out as well.
Among the planes.
Oh, Eve! I was thinking what got through, and Legion Esports, they got Eve. So just like that, they have an advantage. Now let's have a conversation here, Husky. Old times.
Old times?
The way that you fight against Eve is with a Claude.
Oh yes.
Right? We haven't seen the Claude pop up ever since, actually for quite a while now. For quite a while now, we haven't seen the Claude. Even with the changes of his mana, even after he got buffed, we haven't seen a lot of Claudes. Now, I want to see if Encilio, they keep on playing range and just playing Matrix, or will they try it and pick up the Claude?
So far, it seems like they are going to stick with what worked. Still get the high loss and the Suyo. Claude not only got the buff in his Art of Thievery, but he also got buffed in the base damage of that Blazing Duet. So it does allow him to be a lot more proactive, you know, a lot more damage early on. But I feel like in this case, they probably would still stick with what's like comfortable now that there is a, you know what, I changed my mind. If there's a Phoebus and an Alpha, the Claude doesn't look too bad if you want to be able to duck around fights.
Yeah, but again, it's really about their comfort. Do they play with a Claude? Because playing with a Claude is much different than playing with much other marksmen, because the Claude really wants to get that farm very, very fast. So instead of giving the farm over to your jungler, you're going to give it over to your marksman. And now they have the Luyi. We've seen what Luyi and Claude can do. You can, like, if the RNG is not on your favor, like game number 1, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Oh, you ban my Matilda? Guess what? I teleport. Not just me, I teleport my whole team. I can bring more than one guy with me. This is a hero that has been permanently banned up till now. So Encilio finally gets a crack at the Luyi. And not only the cross-map plays, the big brain macro plays you could pull off with the diversion, you also have the area control, right? Like Alpha, Phoebus. You want to be in your enemy's face, you can't do it when there's yin-yang reactions constantly triggering on you.
Yeah, but again, so far it's looking good. The high loss is a question mark here. It can be in the EXP because we just saw what Maniac can do with it, but it can also just be flexed into the roam position. Right now, Legion Esports, they are banning out roamers, but let me remind you, Maniac had a 100% win rate with the Arlet.
That too. So Beatrix does get banned out by the side of Encilio. Another thing I'm looking at is, I feel like this Hylos probably would go into roam. There's a higher chance just because into Phoebus, you don't feel really good, right? You don't feel too good into a Phoebus.
Other than that, right now...
What else can you
Wait.
ban?
What if Encilio just like, Hylos goes to the EXP, and then they pick up a chip? So that you have a lot of ways.
Wait,
you have a
Luyi chip!
Yeah, but not chip yet. You know
Dang
what?
it.
I should have kept my mouth shut.
Yeah, I mean,
They
you
saw
just
it
waited
coming.
for, like, if you waited for 3 more seconds, we might have been able to get that god combo that we missed out for, what, more than 1 season.
Yeah, I just had to open my mouth, Husky.
Dang it, LaFell. It's okay, it's okay. We'll probably have next one. Maybe if this goes game 3, we'll get it again.
Yeah, imagine the Luyi chip.
Oh man, it's like it's a wet dream, you know. Like I
Yeah.
would love to see that.
And I mean, like, if you're a fan of Incilio,
That's true.
if you're a fan of Legion Esports throwing back to first game, that's a nightmare.
I mean, Legion Esports, they are not a fan for sure.
Right now, Legion, a marksman that can open the map reliably. Maybe that's why they banned out the Beatrix, because going up against the Luyi is going to be very, very dangerous. The Natan gets picked up as well as the Khalid. You know what? If Legion Esports goes to the late game, they might win this one. Because I've seen a lot of games where it goes to Lord pushes. Natan and Eve there, they can clear out anyway.
Yeah, like high ground defense is so strong when you have these two. Well, the thing is, you don't even know if the Khalid is going to be Romo XP. What am I saying that? Okay, forget I said that. I was like, wow, that's a big flex. Apparently, I just had a brain fart moment. So Khalid Roam.
I've seen a game where Phoveus goes roam, so it's not.
I feel like I've seen it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where I saw it though.
Yeah.
I'm the priest.
But you won that game, Husky, so you know.
The hunter of
The
all
Phoveus Roam won us that game, to be fair.
Yeah. And now, this is a good pickup actually, especially if the Edith is going to the roam position, can handle against the Alpha quite well. Honestly, when it comes to the draft, previous patch, Legion Esports, this is one of the best drafts that you can get. In Celio, however, with how they've been playing the map, now that they have the Luyi, I do feel like this is a kind of a hidden strat. One of the unlocking things that can really show their full potential.
The mastery of Loyi really makes a lot of difference. We've seen some teams get Loyi and not being able to really utilize that versatility that she brings. And coming into game number 2, we'll see if Legion Esports can find the equalizer as we head into the land of Dawn. This time we get Legion Esports on the blue side, and Cilio will find themselves on red.
Incilio right now having match point. It's on Legion Esports. They just had a very long game. Can they recover? Can they reset? Can they push Incilio to a game number 3? Legion Esports, this is their last chance to go up against Incilio. And right now, looking at the movement from the junglers, again, same side of the map. We want to see if Legion Esports, they actually want to go for the late game. Or this time, they're going to be a little bit more proactive, and this time Incilio not having the Matilda, vice versa. Are they going to be the proactive one, or are they going to be the one reacting?
I think if you have the Loyi, proactivity feels like
this is interesting.
a must. Wow, Brace Might
Yeah,
on
Brace
Loyi.
Fly on Luyi. And Lovely looks like it's not going for the Warcry, it's actually going for the Quantum Charge. So looking for more survivability and movement speed instead of pure damage with the Warcry. And even the Bruno, look at this. He wants the items fast. Now,
He's
honestly, looking at the emblems, a lot can be dissected here.
Yeah. He's like, if Legion Esports have strong late game, you know what? I will get to late game first. But at least I'll try.
No, honestly, it's like the Bruno, honestly, for both marksmen makes sense because Natan wants his Trinity items as fast as he can, and Bruno, he just wants his first item. After getting that House Claw, he can start forcing the fight. So maybe it's just, you know, making sure that he gets either the House Claw or the Berserker Fury first, and then after that, just force fights. Maybe that's why he got the
Bargain Hunter.
I'm thinking Bargain Hunter, Mystery Shop. It has been changed so many times.
Yes, they changed. He gets the discount, right? He gets the discount pass. He has a discount code.
10% discount.
10% discount. Maybe some poke, hey. It's the same strat again. Oh boy, that yin yang reaction is deadly. First blood should go over to Joe. Legion Esports, just like game 1, finds the first kill.
Yeah. But right now, we got to see how Legion Esports really pushes this because they have the advantage. And in game number 1, they were able to secure 3 turtles. If they can secure 3 turtles here as well, I just want to see how they can start taking more objectives and then getting more team fights.
There's Growth Pathway though. Flicker of Shatter. Nart gotta flicker away, and this time Justinian will not miss. Finds the turtle. Maniac. Law and Order on a Joe. Verdict is that Maniac slammed on. Mia will find a kill, and Reaper misses the dispersion. So at the end of the day, 1-for-1 trade, and Cilio finds the turtle and will cash in on this purple buff.
Oh, but they're really pushing it. Can they kill this before the... Yeah.
Huh?
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I mean, it works, right?
Yeah, because I thought like, okay, that seems a little bit early for the diversion, but they made it work. They made it work.
Yeah, but Justinian doesn't have the retribution. The idea was there though. Imagine if they get both buffs, right? Hey, that's Loi player. Like the Loi player mindset is so different. You gotta be creative.
You're always playing chess with the Louis. You always have to be 3 steps ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I got to talk about Louis. I don't.
No,
think
like I had something in my mind. I was just trying to piece it together. What if, right? Here's a wild idea.
All right, all right.
They make a skin for Loi. It's called Grandmaster Loi. But not the usual Grandmaster, a chess Grandmaster. And the unique reaction is like the chess pieces, you know?
What's that movie again?
What movie?
Oh, it's in the back of my head. On reference that, you know what? I know Remar and all the other casters are watching. If you guys know the movie I'm thinking about, you know.
Oh, I thought you meant the movie is called It's in the Back of My Head.
No. It's not. If you guys know the movie title, I don't even remember the actress's name. But anyways, back into the game. Again, an advantage for... Oh, this time it's Incilio. But again, in terms of advantage, it's not that big, Husky. Looks like for both teams, they're not really forcing out a fight. I mean, the fact that we were able to have some time for ourselves to think about a movie name, a movie title, and still nothing going on.
I mean,
Queen's Gambit! Thank you very much. Oh, that was the one.
Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit. Thank you
very
much.
much, Zipper. Well, Joe is going to go down again, just blasted by the dispersion. Just in time for Turtle to spawn.
That was good, but I'm so disappointed in myself.
In case Anna Taylor-Joy.
Yes,
wonderful
yes.
actress.
Yes.
It popularized chess. It's quite a thing. See, you know, should be able to get the turtle without any issues. Easy retribution, and now they get the flip back. Meow again, another flicker. Surprised that he tried to walk out forward into an Edith like that.
Yeah, so far in Celio, they're still playing the macro game quite well, and this time Justinian is actually able to get both turtles. So this is overall an amazing game for Incilio. With that being said, Legion Esports, the draft is about playing for the late game. So as long as Incilio is not 2,000 ahead, it really should be fine for Legion.
Oh, good attempt. A valiant one onto the Reaper. At least you get that flicker out for 2 minutes without the battle spell. And spill it to the bottom side, but again, no way means that. We've been seeing Legion Esports really try to utilize this Khalid. I mean, game 1 it was Mel, game 2 now it's Nart, to make these early moves, but I think it's very unfortunate that they haven't found much success across 2 games.
Yeah, I like as well that so far Lovely on this Edith is looking very good as well. Diversion being used on the bottom lane, they want one, but so far Daylight is able to get out of there.
That's Purify. Let's see how much pressure they can put on this, right? There's still raging. There's no raging sandstorm, in fact. That's why they can move on so fast. And with Maniac around, there's no way for Legion Esports to come in. But there is a 1v1 fight top side. No one's the wiser. Justinian 2 levels ahead of Joe. A complete opposite of game 1.
Oh yeah, 5 minutes in, only 2 kills each so far. Nart tries to look for an advantage, but so far no one from Incilio is really positioning themselves to actually get caught. Both junglers are at the top side of the map. Again, for both teams, it looks like they want to play the macro game, which is kind of uncharacteristic for Legion here. Legion actually playing slow. But I don't know if I like this, Husky, where you're playing for your opponent's timing, right? Like, this feels like Legion wants to play like Incilio.
Yeah, see. So Dawn is going to start shoving that wave in. Daylight has no Purify for another half a minute. Walking too close. Well, it actually checks it, so that's going to be concealed gone. But still, Malefic Gun out for Don't. There should be a second item. Incilio will trade the turtle for bot tier 1, so they are really trying to slow down Daylight.
Yeah. So far, Incilio almost hitting that 2K. Legion Esports, I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable with them not trying to look for any kind of advantage. They're able to get the top lane, so that's good. But so far, both teams are just trading basically side lanes here. You go to top, I go to bottom. We're just going to scale up. Once we have items, we're going to fight. Before we get items, we're really not going to be doing anything. Diversion.
It kind of calls back to what I brought up, right? Like, Legion Esports have been trying to make moves, but with very minimal success. And now Joe caught up again. Donnie's just going to man-fight this. Another flicker from Mel.
Can we have an instant replay? What was that interaction? He was like, push, pull, knocked up, everything.
Man got ragdoll, man.
Oh, yeah.
it feels really bad when you're a Phobius, but all of the flickers so far I think we've seen from Mel is to escape. He's not having a good time at all. And without the flicker, he's surely gonna go down. He's gonna use the Infernal Pursuit. But he goes down anyways. Lovely with the Primal Wrap. Finds killing spree. Top tier 2 for Incilio. Meanwhile, Diverse is gonna be used. Nart will be held in place by Maniac. He's not going anywhere. Has the Raging Sandstorm. Forced to use it, but Lovely will just chase him. Even committing the Glorious Pathway, but still Nart gets out.
Yeah, but look at Nart even has to use the flicker. Incilio, they're, don't mind me for saying this, they're grabbing everything for free here, Husky.
Yeah.
Hey, like, hey, you want to kill? Go on, get a kill. Hey, you want a turret? Oh, go on, get a turret. Not saying that Legion is letting it happen, but at the same time, they're not doing a good job stopping it.
Yeah, this, I know it's early to say, but you can slowly see it go out of control for Legion right now. And look at Daylight. Daylight has 4 bodyguards around him.
Looking at the items here, it looks like the Bruno is opting for a second item, Malefic Gun, which kind of makes it so that Incilio, they really are just playing for the objectives. Instead of going for a Berserker Fury, he just wants more range instantly.
Yeah.
Looking at Daylight here, he's still waiting for Holy Crystal, but he's nowhere near close to his Holy Crystal here.
He's going Winds of Nature, look at that. He's pivoting to the Winds of Nature. He realized that this game is accelerating too fast. Glorious Pathway used an attempted engage, but it's too late. You still didn't found the Lord, so Nart, he's gonna sacrifice his life. Meow as well, they committed, but they got nothing. It felt like they missed the timing long ago.
Maybe it's because of draft, but right now Legion Esports, their front line hasn't really been doing much. Nart, Joe, Meow, it doesn't look like they're having a good time actually doing anything in this game. No engages, no frontline body blocking, no nothing. Like, it could be because of the Edith, because honestly, Edith does well against that. Oh, Daylight.
Oh my god, Daylight.
Oh, he won!
He won because there's tower aggro. You
Right.
just didn't try to fight at tier 2, that's a bit of an error. But man, that came really close.
Oh yeah, very, very close. But overall, that could be just Justinian just checking out, okay, how much damage do I have? Can I kill someone on the turret? All right, I can. Well, I can try again later.
Almost enough. Almost enough. Thankfully, he's not a shutdown, right? He only has 5 assists prior to that, so no big shutdown goal for Daylight. It's a minor loss. Just thinking out the way, topside slow pushing with the Lord as well. And even with 4 members of Incilio, they still have so much presence.
And you saw Joe got attacked once by one basic attack, and he had to alpha charge out.
It's like, no, that's painful.
Yeah, so right now the chances of them really stopping the push from Incilio is quite low right now. It's 10 minutes in, and only inhibitors are left here. Diversion in.
Man, it allows us so much potential, right, in the plays. Like the cross-map movements, they won't get inhibitor though. Almost took out Daylight and Meow at the same time, but still, possibilities are endless.
At this point, it's just about mental. You're just scaring Legion Esports from doing anything.
There you go, Glorious Pathway, another EN reaction. Daylight had to purify out of that, or he would have went down. They're gonna try to get inhibitor first. They sacrifice Maniac for it, but still, big crit, 1.3k damage. And don't just foul another double kill. Incilio prime for victory. Windtalker as the next purchase. Incilio takes out all structures of Legion Esports. 4 versus 3 in favor of the ECA. Wrap Meow takes 2 more in the face. Daylight trying to fight him with the Winds of Nature, takes him down, but Incilio, eyes on the prize, tries to go for the Crystal. Daylight defending with his life, takes out 2 more from Incilio. Reaper looking to escape from this, will find his way to safety. No!
Maniac!
Goes down! Daylight with the Maniac to keep Legion Esports afloat.
You even saw the visuals. We thought it was gonna end there, but whoo! We talked about the defense of a Natan as well as an Eve. Well, there you go. The Natan can get a Maniac. So hopefully with this kind of advantage, they can start looking to win the fights here, Husky, because again, now you have Maniac. There's nowhere for Maniac to go.
Oh, committing entropy.
Oh, that's so low. That's
Man,
so low.
Ricochet almost took him out. In normal circumstances, I would say that this doesn't look good for Incilio, but hey, they got all 3 in hits. So
Now it's all for the lore here. And we saw what happens when you don't have an inhibitor. The minions are much stronger. Super minions are much stronger than normal minions. So
when you don't have all 3 inhibitors,
yeah, in Incilio, they can just keep kiting this lord.
You want to play 26-minute games like game 1? Sure, you know, be my guest. Incilio willing to do that. Let the bot wave push in. Legion Esports now, they feel pressured to make a move. And looking to rush down the Lord. Meow. It's going to be the distraction. Glorious Pathway cuts off the entire backline. The Alpha Strike is in, but he's going to get control. The Lord knocks him out. And it's going to be Justinian that finds the objective. Everything going wrong for Legion.
They tried, Husky, right?
Yeah.
It was do or die. If they got the Lord, there's a chance that they can still survive. Here's the thing, they have an Eve as well as the Natan. The Natan already has the Holy Crystal and the Wind of Nature, so he can defend this. The Eve as well, having the Glowing Wand, the Divine Glaive, as well as...
Well, this. Solemn Side, Winds of Nature.
No.
Wishing Lantern.
Wishing Lantern!
Oh,
Oh my
okay,
god,
no
that escaped me.
There you go. Flicker of Shatter, 2-man stun, Raiding Sandstorm to the back, hits no one. The Lord is so powerful, and this time even Daylight can save it. It is nighttime. Legion Esports gets put to bed, and Incilio finds the first victory in the wildcard group stage.
Yep, with a clean 2-0. Incilio so far looking good for Group B. Just with that, already looking like the favorites here coming in. Looking like they can play the macro game, they can play it slow, but when it's time to speed up, they can speed up.
And with how fast Incilio played in Game 2, that was sort of the initiative and proactiveness that we were looking from Legion Esports in Game 1 that wasn't really delivered to us, unfortunately. And that kind of allowed Incilio to really not only kind of figure out how Legion wants to play, but the fact that they got power picks in Game 2 really made the job so much easier.
Let's shout out to our marshals, by the way. They're looking good. They stood up for this.
They are more suited up than we are.
Yeah.
They look like the Secret Service of M6.
I feel like I'm underdressed.
I feel like I'm underdressed. I walked in today and I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, who are these gentlemen? I realized, man, they are just our marshals. It's a grand event though, even though it's just a wild card.
We're setting the standard here.
We are.
Right.
Greater than ever, right?
Yeah, greater than ever, even our marshals. Look at this. They look snazzy. They're in a suit. They're in a suit, Husky. They're in uniform.
Yeah, they have a uniform for marshals.
They have a uniform
It's not
for
just,
marshals.
you know, just a vest or a shirt. It's a
Before
full
this, it was
shirt.
a jersey.